Apocalypse mobile phone system. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26, Scare Off the Robber. Squeak, a van in front of Xiao Yao braked suddenly. Xiao Yao couldn't help but be attracted by the sound and took a closer look. A bald fat man got out of the car. Uncle Jin. Xiao Yao wondered, who else could this figure be but Uncle Jin? The information above Uncle Jin's HUD showed Jin Duaruo, level 3, combat power 16, life 100 out of 100. It seems that an adult male's combat power can reach 16. Xiao Yao's combat power of 23 is really not that high. At best, it is a little higher than that of an average adult male. Some people at the level of fitness coaches should be higher than him, not to mention Sanda players or special forces. It seems that he still can't sit back and relax. He still has to keep a low profile. He should hurry up to withdraw the money from the wealth treasure, and then upgrade to level 10 and learn the secret book first. Xiao Yao. Jin Duaruo heard someone calling him, and his body trembled with fear. He came to get a haircut again so late. If someone he knew saw him and told his wife, it would be fatal. However, he turned around and found that it was Xiao Yao who called him, and he was half-hearted. Xiao Yao, why don't you go home so late? You scared me. Oh, I know, you are just beginning to fall in love. You are going out on a date with your girlfriend. Don't worry, I understand. Uncle Jin saw the female students hanging on Xiao Yao's arm like a koala. With his posture, no one would believe that she was not his girlfriend. I say, brother Xiao Yao, you are so lucky. How did you find such a beautiful girlfriend? Uncle Jin said to Xiaozin again, Xiao Yao is a good kid. The girl has good taste. He turned around and said to Xiao Yao, okay, you should go home quickly. It's so late. I won't waste your time. I still need to get a haircut and I will be back soon. He still needs to get a haircut. He can't stay out tonight, so he can only have a fast food. Xiao Yao did not explain when Jin Duaruo asked him out on a date. More importantly, Jin Duaruo did not let him get a chance to speak. Some things became more and more difficult to explain the more he tried to explain them. Maybe after a few days, the novelty would wear off and Xiaozin would stop pestering him. He should just let it go. Okay, Uncle Jin, you're busy. We're leaving. Okay. Uncle Jin watched Xiao Yao and the others pushing their carts northward. He wished he could lend them his van so they could disappear quickly. Seeing Xiao Yao and the others exit the alley, Jin Duaruo could not wait to enter the barber shop. Xiao Hong, here I come. No, Uncle Jin seemed to be bald. Was he here to get a haircut? Xiao Yao looked back, but there was no trace of Uncle Jin in the alley. Xiao Yao turned around and continued walking. Was Uncle Jin going to do something that he could not explain? He and he were business partners at best. He should not get involved in his personal life. Oh, I forgot to pay him for the goods. I'll pay him later. Xiaozin's home is far away, and she usually takes the bus home. However, it is almost 8 o'clock now, and the buses here have stopped running for a long time. Xiao Yao directly helped Xiaozin stop a taxi on the road. Before getting on the car, Xiaozin couldn't help but feel reluctant. The driver was not in a hurry. Anyway, he stopped and waited for the meter to run. He just muttered, college students nowadays are really precocious. Alice, college life is so good. Thinking back to the past, I was so stupid. I only knew how to play in the mud every day. Watching the taxi go away, Xiao Yao rode his electric bike to the south. My hometown is in this village. The phone rang. There was no need to guess that it was my mother calling. Hello, Mom, I'm going home now. I'm not online, really not online. Do you hear? Is that the sound of a car horn? I'm on my way and will be home soon. Fortunately, the conversation was on the phone. If my mother was in front of me, I'm afraid that the spit would spring me so hard that I would have to wash my hair. After hanging up the phone, Xiao Yao continued to walk south. The reason why he didn't go home was because he had to go to the bank south of the market to withdraw the money from Zifubeo to his bank card from the ATM. There was no other way. Zifubeo and the bank system were not connected to his mobile phone system. He couldn't transfer money directly. Xiao Yao had to withdraw cash, make it into cash and then store it in his mobile phone backpack. Most of the shops in the market had turned off the lights at this time, and only a few cake shops were still open. Continuing south were some hardware stores, which closed earlier. Fortunately, there were street lights, otherwise it would be difficult to walk. After walking another 100 meters, Xiao Yao turned into a two-story building on the right along the street. This was the nearest bank. Most of the businesses were closed, and only the 24-hour sign at the door of the bank's ATM was still on. Xiao Yao stopped the car and walked into the cash withdrawal hall. He withdrew 10,000 yuan each time. When he withdrew again, he was prompted that the daily withdrawal limit had been reached. Oh my god, I can only withdraw 20,000 yuan a day? Then when will I be able to withdraw the millions in my card? He tried a few more times, but there was no way he could only withdraw 20,000 yuan. Xiao Yao pulled out the card and had to come to the counter to withdraw it tomorrow. Xiao Yao put the money in his trouser pocket and left the ATM. The reason why he didn't save it directly to his mobile phone was because there were so many surveillance cameras in this place. If they discovered the secret of his mobile phone, he would be arrested, so Xiao Yao could only put it in his trouser pocket first. Xiao Yao pushed the car and was about to get in when he saw a figure wearing a cap walking towards him. The distance was too far and beyond the range of Xiao Yao's detection skills. Xiao Yao could not confirm the other party's information and could only walk slowly to the side. One must be on guard against others. Generally, people who wear caps may hide their faces and do some illegal activities. This is what he learned from Tao Xiao. Xiao Yao still has the minimum vigilance. It is said that the more you fear something, the worse it will be. Stop, rob, hand over the valuables on you. Since you are a student, I won't make things difficult for you. There was a low and hoarse voice. As soon as you heard it, you knew that the other party deliberately lowered his voice. As he spoke, he kept gesturing at Xiao Yao with a small dagger in his right hand. With the help of the light, Xiao Yao could see that the man in the cap was wearing a black mask. It seemed that the measures were quite good. As they got closer, Xiao Yao's reconnaissance skills also saw the opponent's information. Wang Wenitun level 3 combat power 18 health 100 out of 100. The combat power is scum, but the opponent has a dagger in his hand, so Xiao Yao still can't take it lightly. After all, combat power is just a reference, which can only represent high comprehensive quality. He's a rookie with only 5 in other aspects except intelligence 13. Robbery? I'm so scared. I don't know how many times you have done this kind of robbery business. Xiao Yao looked at Wang Wenitun opposite with a calm face. Xiao Yao believed that if he fought, he might not be able to beat him. After all, the opponent had weapons, and Xiao Yao didn't want to risk his life, but if he ran away, Xiao Yao estimated that he could still run away. Don't talk nonsense, hand over the money. I saw you withdraw money from the ATM. The man in the baseball cap showed a fierce look. Robbery must be done quickly, and he didn't want to talk nonsense with this college student. Oh, you don't want to tell me, right? If you don't tell me, I'll call the police and let them interrogate you, Comrade Wang Wenitun. Xiao Yao said the other person's name calmly. Who are you? How do you know my name? The man in the baseball cap was also panicking. He was a vagrant criminal and didn't have any accomplices in this city. He moved from place to place after each crime, fearing that someone would recognize him and then betray him. But what he never expected was that the college student in front of him actually knew his name. The man in the baseball cap even had murderous intent at this moment. Although he had never killed anyone, with his multiple robbery records, he didn't know when he would be released, which was almost the same as the death penalty. Don't get excited, I can tell fortunes, and I know your name by counting on my fingers. I also know that you are not from here, but from another place, right? Nonsense, with an accent from another place, even a fool would know that he was from another place. You can tell fortunes? What a joke. Then tell me whether you can survive today. The man in the baseball cap didn't waste words with Xiao Yao. He wanted to make a quick decision and leave the city tonight. Before he finished speaking, he stabbed Xiao Yao with a dagger in his right hand. Xiao Yao, who had been paying attention to the baseball cap, could see what the boy wanted to do, not to mention that he was wearing reconnaissance glasses, which made his vision clearer. He swung the electric bike in his hand hard the moment the baseball cap made a move. Xiao Yao lifted the electric bike hard, and the flying electric bike wheel hit the baseball cap, knocking him back several steps and sitting on the ground. The baseball cap didn't want to fight anymore because he couldn't hit the target. He quickly got up, covering his chest, and disappeared into the night. Xiao Yao did not chase him either. He still understood the principle of not chasing a desperate enemy, especially since the other party had a dagger. If he forced the other party to fight, he would suffer with his bare hands. The man in the cap ran away without a trace. Xiao Yao also rode his bicycle to rush home. He had to carry a weapon with him, otherwise, if he encountered such a situation next time, he would always be passive and beaten. He couldn't keep pushing the bicycle, right? Wang Wenyan ran through several alleys in a row. He couldn't find the direction in the end. He pulled down his mask and took a deep breath. How did he know his name? This was what puzzled him the most. Could it be that the boy just now could really tell fortunes? What shocked him even more was that this unprepossessing college student could actually swing an electric bike. Exclamation mark. What kind of strange power is this? No, this city is not safe. He must leave immediately. Wang Wenyan, who was called out by Xiao Yao and didn't kill Xiao Yao, decided to run away overnight. Chapter 27 Being stopped twice in one night. Running all the way, the electric bike was ridden at the highest speed. After nearly half an hour, the village in the distance could finally be vaguely seen. The barking of several Chinese rural dogs in the village could be heard from afar. You little bastard, you still have the nerve to come back? Look at the clock on the wall, what time is it? Ah! A burst of scolding came as expected. It's not even 9 o'clock. Xiao Yao knew he was in the wrong, and his voice of resistance became lower and lower. Why, are you still planning to stay up all night in the internet cafe? Xiao Yao, tell me the truth, did you go online again? The middle-aged woman pinched her waist with one hand and poked Xiao Yao's forehead with the other hand. No, I swear I really didn't this time. You just mess around with some stupid tools all day long. If you rank last in the final exam again, I won't go to the parent-teacher conference. Whoever wants to go can go. I can't afford to lose face. The middle-aged woman squatted down, added a few more fires under the stove, and continued to cook dinner. It was already ready, and they had all finished eating. Xiao Yao came back to reheat it. Why don't you study quickly? Why are you standing here to gain weight? Oh. Xiao Yao hung his head and went to the study. Oh, it's really unlucky. I was scolded by the counselor at school and my mother when I got home. Life is not easy, so I have to cherish it. Maybe it's because my intelligence has increased to 13 points. Xiao Yao can solve some of the homework assigned by the teacher with just a little thought. In the past, I had to pull out a few hairs to do it. The homework that usually takes more than an hour to complete was completed in just 10 minutes. Why don't you come to eat? You have to be called 4 or 5 times to eat. Oh, I see, it's only called once. Xiao Yao put down his pen and went to the kitchen to eat dinner. Braised eggplant, hot and sour potato shreds, tomato and egg soup, plus a fried pupa. Except for the fried pupa, the rest are Xiao Yao's favorites. It's because Xiao Yao doesn't eat meat and is 90% vegetarian. The reason why it's 90% is because Xiao Yao likes to eat fish. Mom, I'm going out for a walk. Have you finished your homework? I have finished it. There's less homework tonight. After you finish it, can't you review your lessons tomorrow? You just run around all day. Xiao Yao's mother grumbled, but she didn't continue to care about Xiao Yao. It's good to go out for a walk. Xiao Yao usually goes out for a run at night, and she is used to it. Because he had just finished his meal, Xiao Yao did not run up, but walked slowly all the way to the top of the mountain. Every night, Xiao Yao would stand on the top of the mountain and look at the city in the distance. The bright lights and the quietness of the village on this side of the mountain formed a sharp contrast. After doing a set of radio gymnastics, he was sweating all over again. Xiao Yao lay on the top of the mountain and looked at the sky. The stars seemed to be particularly bright tonight. The 3 bright stars in the south of the sky were Orion. The 3 stars were arranged very neatly and were the easiest to find. The other stars were not very bright, so Xiao Yao did not look for them one by one. The remaining stars should be the Big Dipper, which was the brightest. Xiao Yao sat up and looked at the sky in the north. 1, 2, 3, 4. Xiao Yao counted the stars one by one. Huh? Isn't the Big Dipper in the shape of a spoon? How come the mouth of the spoon is almost flat? It's really strange. Xiao Yao had never studied constellations before, but just thought it was a normal phenomenon. The 3 brightest stars in the south sky were not in the same place at different times. After the rest, Xiao Yao went down the mountain. On the way down the mountain, he passed by the cemetery of the next village. Xiao Yao felt a gust of cool wind on his back. The sweat just now was stuck to his back by the cool wind, which was even more uncomfortable. Xiao Yao couldn't help but speed up and look straight ahead. Although Xiao Yao's current combat power is a little stronger than that of an adult, he also believes that there are no ghosts in this world, but he doesn't want to be the first person to witness that there are ghosts in this world, especially on this rural cement road where no one is. As the saying goes, what you fear will come true. Xiao Yao, who was trotting down the mountain, saw a figure in white clothes in the woods not far from the roadside. It must be an illusion. He silently said in his heart, I can't see it, I can't see it. He didn't look straight ahead and speeded up. Stop. A burst of delicate shouting came. It's over, it's a female ghost. Xiao Yao desperately speeded up and ignored it completely. Thief, stop running. The woman in white ran in front of Xiao Yao in the blink of an eye and fell in front of Xiao Yao like catkins. Xiao Yao saw a female ghost suddenly falling down in the middle of the road in front of him, and he was so scared that his soul left his body. This appearance posture was undoubtedly a female ghost. Who could be so powerful and fall down silently? Lady, spare my life. I will rob you of my wealth and sex. I only beg you to spare my life. Xiao Yao knelt on the ground and kowtowed to the woman in white. Robbed money, nothing on him, just a mobile phone, but the mobile phone is his life now, no one can take it away. The other party is 3 steps away from him, and Xiao Yao's detection skills can't see the other party's information. Alice, this skill should be upgraded as soon as possible, the range of 1 meter is really urgent. Robbed sex, poor virginity for 19 years, Alice, female ghost is a female ghost, at least she is a woman. Although kneeling and begging for mercy is very shameful, you should rather die standing than lie on your knees, but the problem is that there is a female ghost in front of you who fell from the sky. Come and try to die standing for me? Who wouldn't live if they could live? Bah! You pervert, who wants to rob me of my money and my body? The woman in white couldn't help but blush. When she met this pervert, she was so foul-mouthed that she couldn't help but curse. Well, if you don't want to rob me of my money or my body, then what do you want? Xiao Yao sat down on the ground. It was over. There were still 2 miles to go before home. The remaining 2 miles now became the distance to the horizon. Swish! A silver light flashed, and the woman in white drew out the long sword in her hand, with the tip of the sword pointing directly at Xiao Yao. If you say another word of nonsense, I will cut off your tongue right now. Xiao Yao knelt and took a step back, covering his mouth with both hands. Following the long sword, Xiao Yao saw that the woman in white in front of him seemed to be a fairy from a painting. If you look at me again, I'll dig out your eyes first. The woman in white felt uncomfortable when she saw the man in front of her looking at her with an unconcealed gaze. This man was indeed a pervert. Xiao Yao covered his eyes again in fear, but his heart was calm at this time. Forget it, it's worth it to see such a beautiful female ghost before I die. The visibility is poor at night, and the most unforgettable thing is that stunning glimpse. The other party blocked the road, and if she didn't rob him of money or sex, then she must be trying to take his life. No, it would be too not worth it to die like this. Since it has been confirmed that this female ghost is trying to take his life, no matter how much he begs for mercy, it would be pale. It is better to remember the appearance of this female ghost before he dies, and settle the score with her after he dies. Thinking of this, Xiao Yao let go of his hands that were covering his eyes, and stopped kneeling. He looked at the woman in white and slowly stood up. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28 Soul Locking Bead. Xiao Yao looked calm on the surface, but his heart was in turmoil. It was beautiful, too beautiful to be desecrated, just like the description of Lotus in the Chinese textbook, which can only be viewed from a distance and not played with. She is as graceful as a fairy, and she is pleasing to the eyes. It is worth dying to be able to see the fairy's appearance before dying, but I still want to live. Your beauty is your business, but my life is more important. I don't know how the lady can let me go. Xiao Yao looked directly at the woman in white, and his excitement gradually subsided. When any extremely beautiful object threatens your life, this beauty is not worth appreciating. You. Being looked at so directly by Xiao Yao, The woman in white stamped her feet in anger, but she did not really dig out Xiao Yao's eyes, because she also saw that Xiao Yao's eyes were clear, without a trace of lust, as if he was looking at an ordinary person, or even like looking at an object. Just now he was kneeling on the ground begging for mercy, but now he was ready to die. This change was too fast, so the woman in white couldn't react for a while, and her rhythm was completely disrupted. Is her appearance that bad? You. The woman in white pointed at Xiao Yao and was so angry that she didn't know what to say. This can't be a stuttering female ghost. Xiao Yao complained in his heart. It's also strange that a female ghost carries a sword. Don't female ghosts always possess, climb on the back, or bite directly with their mouths? Playing with swords is really novel. Of course, Xiao Yao has seen many female ghosts. Isn't that how it is played on TV? Humph. I just ask you, why do you have the breath of the soul-locking bead? The woman in white soon calmed down. After all, it is against her status to be angry with an ordinary person. Soul-locking bead. Xiao Yao was confused. How did she know about the soul-locking bead? I don't know what the soul-locking bead is. Don't play dumb. Although the breath is very light, you do have the breath of the soul-locking bead. I have been tracking it for half a month. The breath has become very faint in this area. Only you still have some faint breath. The woman in white looked confident. This female ghost was born in the year of the dog. Xiao Yao couldn't help but complain in his heart, "Sister, I really don't have a soul-locking bead on me. You must have recognized the wrong person." Xiao Yao gestured to the woman in white and turned over the pockets of his clothes to show her. There were no pockets on his pants. He was just about to take off his pants for the woman in white to check. Okay. Seeing that Xiao Yao was really going to take off his pants for her to check, she was really afraid that Xiao Yao would take them off. But she whispered, "Shameless, you lecher." Maybe Xiao Yao just accidentally got some of the breath of the soul-locking bead. Although Xiao Yao looked a little mentally damaged, it didn't seem to be caused by the soul-locking bead, so she didn't pursue it anymore. This is a talisman that can warm your spirit. If you encounter the soul-locking orb again, remember to wear this talisman when you sleep, otherwise your spirit will be slowly sucked away by the soul-locking orb, and you will end up as a walking corpse. The woman in white took out a jade pendant-like talisman from her bosom and handed it to Xiao Yao, but she felt a little shy in her heart. This talisman is not an ordinary talisman, it also has the function of warming the spirit, and more importantly, it is a talisman that she carries with her. Xiao Yao took the talisman woodenly. The moment he took the talisman, Xiao Yao clearly felt a sense of emptiness in his head, very comfortable, and his tired spirit seemed to be refreshed. It was like having a good sleep, and when he just woke up, he was full of energy, and the fatigue from the previous exercise was swept away. Then, when she took the opportunity to take the talisman, the woman in white approached Xiao Yao within 1 meter. Oh my god? Why is this reconnaissance information a string of question marks? Xiao Yao, who often plays online games, knows that this is because the opponent is too much higher than his level. Xiao Yao does not dare to act rashly, because this kind of character can kill him in a minute. Phoenix Pendant, Mental Power +5, Restore Mental Power 24/day. What a good thing, it restores mental power, but I don't seem to have the attribute of mental power. Is this a hidden attribute? Well, this is not good. I gave you such an expensive gift on the first meeting, and I don't have anything valuable to give you in return. Although Xiao Yao wanted it very much, he was always unwilling to accept other people's gifts casually. Xiao Yao reluctantly handed the amulet to the woman. Don't forget it, it's just that I saw that your spirit is damaged, so I borrowed it to warm your spirit. Since you don't want it, then I won't give it to you. It's just a pity for a person. It is estimated that in another year or so, he will be mentally depressed and become a vegetable. Alice, it's a pity. The woman in white held the amulet in one hand and shook her head and said, "Take it." Xiao Yao quickly snatched the amulet from the woman's hand, regardless of whether it was what she said. Not to mention, he was really full of energy. The corners of the white-clothed woman's mouth slightly raised, thinking to herself, just an ordinary person, it's really easy to deceive, but what I said is the truth. But why should I care about the life and death of an ordinary person? Is it just because of the clear eyes in the other person's eyes when they looked at each other just now? Or can't bear to see a life become a vegetable after a year or two? Well, it must be the latter. Alice, I am really the embodiment of compassion and saving the common people. Oh no, it's the breath of the soul-locking bead again. The white-clothed woman looked into the distance. Although the breath of the soul-locking bead flashed by, the white-clothed woman was sure that this breath must be the soul-locking bead. Dengtu, remember, if you encounter the soul-locking bead, don't eat it. See you again if you are destined. The white-clothed woman flew away. Yes, she flew away, just like on TV, she flew away from the treetops in a few leaps. I haven't asked for your name yet. Xiao Yao shouted to the sky in the distance. At this time, Xiao Yao was sure that the white-clothed woman was definitely not a female ghost, but a fairy? Not really. If it were a fairy, she would have flown into the clouds and mist without the need for treetops. A chivalrous woman would definitely be like this. There was no response from the distance, only the stars blinking under the night sky. Who is she? Who is the old man who gave me the soul-locking pearl? Why did the old man call the soul-locking pearl the soul-calming pearl? Xiao Yao was very confused. He suddenly felt that this world was very dangerous. The level of the woman in white could not be seen, and she could fly away from the treetops. Is she from this world? Is there really a so-called hidden sect in this world? Xiao Yao felt an inexplicable sense of urgency, as if the sky was about to press down, making it extremely difficult to breathe. He went all the way home. His mother had already gone to the old yard. Xiao Yao took out a key to open the door, washed up briefly, and went to bed. Unknown wireless network, reality like a game, glasses that can detect information, inexplicable old man watching the mountain, flying chivalrous woman in white, and supernatural phenomena that appeared one after another made Xiao Yao feel an inexplicable sense of urgency, as if an invisible big hand was overwhelming and pressing down on him, making Xiao Yao short of breath and panic. The phone hasn't released the main quest for a long time, as if it had never appeared. If the projection in the fundus was not still there, Xiao Yao would have thought that all this was an illusion. He sorted out his backpack, 999 bottles of mineral water, 378 bags of mineral water, a soul-locking bead, and a book on bodybuilding techniques. He survived another day, so the backpack now has 4 slots. The bodybuilding techniques in his trouser pocket had long been saved in the phone. He lent 7,000 to Xiaozin and withdrew another 20,000. There were still 23,000 in the backpack, and the proficiency of the reconnaissance skill had reached 309/10,000. At this rate, if he kept the reconnaissance skill on, it would only take more than 2 hours to upgrade the reconnaissance skill. Meow, meow. Wow. The sound of a night owl came from outside the window. These days, there are often night owls who don't sleep at night, and call back and forth on the streets. It's not spring yet, but the animals have reached a mating season. It's a bit early to be in heat, Xiao Yao thought. Don't cats usually meow when they are in heat? But they call outside the window for half an hour every time. How can people sleep? It sounds like they are fighting after meowing for a long time. I don't know if they are doing some indescribable actions. Xiao Yao didn't have the heart to open the window to watch the live broadcast. Are you so annoying? Can't you let me sleep? I have to go to school tomorrow. Xiao Yao muttered to himself, turned over and covered his head with a quilt to make less noise. At this time, 2 cats were fighting fiercely outside. Soon one of the cats might be defeated and ran away screaming, while the remaining cat licked the wound on its back, then licked its paws and ate some of the other cat's flesh and blood. Maybe they were 2 males, and the indescribable actions that Xiao Yao imagined did not happen. After licking its paws, the black cat looked at Xiao Yao's window, with bursts of red light in its eyes. Then it turned around and disappeared in the fog, and no one knew where it went. Chapter 29, Not Going Home Until Drunk. Ouch! Ouch! Wang Hao, who was punched by Xiao Yao twice, was in the outpatient department of the hospital. A middle-aged doctor was holding a stethoscope and checking Wang Hao's stomach. Doctor, is there anything wrong with my classmate? Several younger brothers beside him were anxious. Seeing Wang Hao's condition, they were afraid that he would not survive tonight. The doctor was still quietly fiddling with something like a magnifying glass. It's not a big problem. I'll prescribe a few prescriptions for you to go home and recuperate. The middle-aged doctor put away the stethoscope and told them lightly that he just listened to the echo of the internal organs and there was no big problem, but the other party's expression was like he was seriously injured. Was he pretending or was it really painful? The middle-aged doctor was also a little confused. Doctor, this part of my stomach hurts when I press it, but it doesn't hurt when I don't press it. Is this serious? Wang Hao felt much more relieved when he heard the doctor say that there was no big problem, but his stomach did hurt a lot when he pressed it. Wang Hao was afraid that the doctor had not detected it just now, so he reminded the doctor and pointed his hand above his belly button. No problem, the echo of your internal organs is normal. I suspect that you just got a stitch in the side. If the pain doesn't go away in 2 days, come to the hospital for a B ultrasound and a comprehensive check. The middle-aged doctor wrote a prescription. Go to the west side of the first floor to get the medicine. Doctor, is there really no problem? Wang Hao's classmate asked the doctor again. It's just an ordinary trauma, no problem, go home and take care of yourself, don't do strenuous exercise in the next few days, if your stomach still hurts in 2 days, come to the hospital for further examination and treatment. Okay, doctor. Several people helped Wang Hao out of the emergency room. The doctor checked that there was no problem, so there should be no problem. Several people sat down at the place where medicine was dispensed, and one of the younger brothers took the list to get medicine. Xiao Yao is dead. I will tell Brother Dao tomorrow and ask Brother Dao to find a few good hands from the underworld. This time I want one of Xiao Yao's legs. Wang Hao's stomach was much better at this time, and it might be more of a psychological effect. After hearing the doctor say that the problem was not serious, he felt that it didn't hurt so much. Brother Hao, the price Daoje wants for a leg should be quite high, can we afford it? One of the younger brothers was not worried about whether Xiao Yao would lose a leg, but whether Brother Hao could afford the price of a leg. After all, the cigarettes they usually smoked were less than 10 yuan. What if Brother Hao couldn't afford it and asked them to raise money? This matter is not over yet, let him be free for a few more days, I'll think of a way to get the money. Thinking of the money, Wang Hao lost his previous ruthlessness. He couldn't beat him. If he asked Daoje to do it, he would definitely have to pay the appearance fee of those thugs. Thinking of the high appearance fee, Wang Hao felt like a bucket of ice water was poured on his head. Wang Hao and Daoje had occasionally heard them mention that it seemed that a migrant worker offended the contractor and asked for a leg, which was said to be 100,000 yuan, but was the hatred for Xiao Yao worth 100,000 yuan? Wang Hao hesitated. After thinking about it, Wang Hao didn't know how to deal with Xiao Yao. If he fought, he couldn't beat Xiao Yao with his men. If he asked someone to beat him, he didn't have money. It seemed that he was in a dead end. Suddenly, Wang Hao thought of a way. During this period, Daoje had been using usury to make some pretty female college students his money-making tools. Xiaozin seemed to be one of them. Xiao Yao stood up for Xiaozin, which was just to make things difficult for Daoje. As if he had thought of something great, Wang Hao laughed. The younger brothers beside him didn't understand why and thought that Wang Hao had been beaten to a mental disorder. Brother Hao, don't scare us. The younger brothers were also a little confused. How could Brother Hao laugh after being beaten? He looked very happy. Maybe it was not because his stomach was fine, but his brain was the problem. Get lost, what are you thinking about? Let's go. We'll have fun tonight. The city that never sleeps on the sea will not go home until we're drunk. The younger brother who took the medicine also came back. Wang Hao waved his hand, got up and walked outside, with a bit of big brother style. Tell me, is there something wrong with Brother Hao? One of the lagging brothers said to another brother, pointing at his head. Does that mean Wang Hao's stomach is fine, but there is something wrong with his brain? Should they go to the encephalopathy department to have Brother Hao's brain checked? Don't talk nonsense. Why do you care so much? Brother Hao is treating us tonight, just eat and drink with us. Although one of them was also curious, he knew that he should talk less, ask less, and just hang out with him. He didn't care whether Brother Hao had a problem with his brain or not. English, taxi. Wang Hao's stomach didn't hurt so much at this time. It seemed that what the doctor said was right. Now that he thought about it, Xiao Yao's 2 punches were not that powerful. It was just a coincidence that he got his breath interrupted. It was more of a sneak attack by Xiao Yao. Yes, a sneak attack. Damn it, he must have underestimated the enemy. He didn't expect this kid to dare to resist. There were 4 people on his side, and he was the only one hit by Xiao Yao twice. The remaining 2 surrendered before the fight even started. What useless things. Wang Hao felt that they were not loyal. At least they should accompany him to be beaten. If there were 4 people on his side, it might not be possible for Xiao Yao to beat him if they attacked together. Well, it would be better if he brought some more weapons. Thinking of this, Wang Hao's mood improved. On the one hand, he had underestimated the enemy before, and there was the opponent's sneak attack. On the other hand, he could use Dao Ji's relationship first and let Dao Jie deal with Xiao Yao first, and then he could hide him with a club on the side. In this way, Xiao Yao's attention would be on Dao Jie, and he would not think of him. The more he thought about it, the happier he became. Wang Hao couldn't help humming an unknown little song. The younger brothers didn't dare to ask or speak. They just exchanged glances. They didn't care. They just had to eat and drink. At the dinner table, Wang Hao, who had a few glasses of wine, was even more excited. The ancients would start reciting poems and writing couplets after a few glasses of wine, while modern people would start bragging after a few glasses of wine. They couldn't remember when it ended. Because it was too late and they didn't want to leave, they seemed to be driven out by the boss. Before leaving, they stripped their wallets. Although the money they put together was not enough to pay for the food and drinks, one of the younger brothers' mobile phone was confiscated. He said he would redeem it with money later. Taxi. One of the younger brothers also waved at a taxi on the side of the road. Seeing that there were a few drunks, the taxi driver didn't dare to take it. He started the car and turned around. The night was getting darker and a layer of light fog rose. After a while, only the taillights of the car were still vaguely visible. What the hell, let's run. After drinking, they were even more outspoken, but no one responded to them. A gust of cold wind blew over, and several people shivered, and they sobered up. Wang Hao took out his phone and saw 25 missed calls. When he saw it was from his mother, he woke up instantly. It was over. This time when he went home, he would be exhausted if he didn't die. He trembled and called his mother. Wang Hao, you little bastard, I thought you were dead outside. There was the sound of a nuclear bomb explosion on the other end of the phone. Wang Hao trembled and said his location. How could he forget the time when he drank? Soon, a pickup truck came to them. The pickup truck was too small for several people to sit in. Some of the younger brothers sat directly in the back of the pickup truck. Soon, the red taillights of the pickup truck slowly disappeared in the fog at night. Chapter 30, Thick Fog Rises. In a dim underground tunnel, Xiao Yao and his mother were running for their lives. There were countless zombies about 10 meters behind them. There was only a dilapidated, unknown device between them and the zombies. Mom, there's nowhere to run. What should we do? There's a hole over there. Let's see if we can get out there. Mom pointed to a sewer opening in the corner of the sewer and said. Xiao Yao ran to the sewer, which was rectangular. Xiao Yao used the machete to take down the fence, lay on the ground and looked across. He saw a very wide room across the room with a few zombies swaying back and forth. Suddenly, a crow landed across the sewer. Xiao Yao was startled, but when he saw it was a crow, he quietly reached out and grabbed the crow's claws, pulled it over, pressed the crow to the ground, and chopped off the crow's head with a machete. The crow flapped its wings a few times and then became motionless. However, the crow's flesh and blood stuck to Xiao Yao's hands. Xiao Yao shook it a few times and then lay on the sewer again to observe the movement on the opposite side to see if it was possible to lure the zombies over one by one and kill them. At this moment, Xiao Yao felt a tingling sensation on his back. He could not help but reach his hand from the side to his back and scratch it a few times, but it was still itchy, so Xiao Yao took off his shirt and said, Mom, look at what's on my back, why is it so itchy? Maybe some pieces of meat stuck to it when I was chopping the crow just now. Xiao Yao's mother scratched Xiao Yao a few times and said, throw it away. But, Mom, why is it still itchy? Xiao Yao still felt itchy, but why did his arm itch this time? Xiao Yao stretched out his right hand and saw that there were worms like earthworms wriggling under the skin. 1, 2, and suddenly, Xiao Yao felt the same itch on his legs. He looked down at his right leg and saw something like a worm wriggling under the skin. Mom, go. Son. In an instant, Xiao Yao found that an unknown creature under the skin of his right arm suddenly pierced his skin and rushed out, and then a bunch of worms suddenly ran out of his body. Xiao Yao suddenly stood up, and his back was already covered in cold sweat. Where is this? Xiao Yao looked around, the yellow-white walls and ceiling. Xiao Yao patted his forehead, he had a nightmare again. Xiao Yao, it's time to eat. It's foggy today. Eat early and go slowly on the road. Hey. Xiao Yao looked at his hands, arms and legs. Fortunately, he lifted the quilt, put on his slippers and went to brush his teeth and wash his face. Having had nightmares these past few days, Xiao Yao felt exhausted and not in good spirits. He simply finished his breakfast. "Mom, isn't Zhou Tao here?" "No, call him later, otherwise he will think you're getting up at that time again and you won't make a wasted trip." "Okay, okay. Hello, fatty, this is Xiao Yao. Are you up? It's foggy today, go to school early." "What? You left a long time ago? Damn, you didn't even call me. How would I know you'd get up so early? You usually don't get up before 7:30, right? I'm just afraid that you'll disturb my late sleep. I was thinking of calling you after 7:20, but I didn't expect you to get up now." "Mom, Zhou Tao has already arrived at school. I'll go by myself later." "Zhou Tao left a long time ago, so drive slowly." "Okay, I'm leaving." Xiao Yao got on his electric bike and rang the bell all the way to school. When he got on the road, he met many people driving cars to work. They all turned on the fog lights and hazard lights of their cars and drove slowly all the way. Wow, 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 wow. The sounds of ambulances and police cars came from the fog from time to time. Needless to say, this must be because of driving in the fog and not being able to avoid a car crash somewhere. Xiao Yao couldn't help but lean to the side of the road and try to avoid the passing cars. He met several groups of police cars and ambulances on the road. It seems that driving in the fog is really dangerous. On the way, Xiao Yao witnessed a white car crashing into the rear of a large truck. The front of the car was drilled under the large truck. Fortunately, the driver and the co-pilot were not injured. Miraculously, they opened the door and got out. However, they may have been scared enough. Their legs were weak when they walked. Because there were many accidents, Xiao Yao walked more carefully. He arrived at school without any danger. On the way, he also met many classmates rushing to their respective classrooms. Xiao Yao was scared after parking the electric car. It was a miracle that he could arrive at school safely. The visibility was less than 5 meters. It seemed that the fog would not come out until the sun came out. Xiao Yao groped his way to the classroom. Xiao Yao turned the doorknob. Why was it still locked? "Hey, open the door." "Why is it locked?" "Who is it?" A boy's voice came from inside. "I'm Xiao Yao. Is this class 6, grade 14, Department of Computer Science?" Squeak. Just as he finished speaking, the door opened. It was the class monitor Qin Yi who opened the door. "It's so foggy, and you're still walking here. You're really brave." "Huh?" Xiao Yao looked around. There were about 70 students in the class, but less than half of them were here. How come class is almost about to start, but only so few people are here? "Didn't you check the class chat?" Qin Yi rolled his eyes. "The counselor sent a notice this morning. It's foggy today. Those who live in the school can come, but those who go to school as day students don't have to come. All the students who come today should go to self-study." The counselor didn't come. How should I know? Anyway, the counselor hasn't shown up since this morning. Qin Yi didn't even raise his head and continued to look at his books. Qin Yi was their class monitor. He had a middle-parted hair like Aaron Kwok and wore glasses. He usually liked to tell tales to the counselor. Almost no one in the class liked him, but there were also a few who liked to curry favor with him, just to avoid telling tales to the counselor. "Damn, you fat guy, you didn't even tell me you came early." Xiao Yao walked to the fat guy's seat and punched him on the shoulder. Of course, he didn't use much force, otherwise with Xiao Yao's current strength, the fat guy would probably fall to the ground. "Damn, Xiao Yao, you're still blaming me. You get up so late every day. I'm just trying to let you sleep in a little longer." The fat guy rubbed his shoulders. "Besides, the counselor said that those who go to school as a day student don't have to come to school today. I thought you weren't coming. I'm too lazy to talk to you." Xiao Yao put down his school bag. "Hi, you're here too." Deskmate Xiamo also came, but think about it. Basically, those who came were those who lived nearby and were good at studying, except Xiao Yao, of course. He was purely afraid that the counselor would cause trouble for him again. Xiao Yao also joined the class group, but later the class group was full of flatterers. Xiao Yao didn't want to see it but was embarrassed to leave the group, so he could only block it and didn't see the notice sent by the counselor at all. "Well, my home is in Daoxiang village. Besides, the fog wasn't this thick when I came." Xiamo responded with a smile. Although she saw Xiao Yao talking to a girl when she went to the toilet, Talking didn't mean that the girl had any relationship with Xiao Yao. She should have thought too much. So, Xiao didn't give Xiao Yao any cold face again. After all, she was just Xiao Yao's deskmate, and strictly speaking, she was not Xiao Yao's girlfriend. She really had no right to say anything no matter what Xiao Yao wanted. Chapter 31 The class beauty comes to see you. Why hasn't the fog cleared yet? It looked like the sun wouldn't come out today. Xiao Yao stood on the south side of the window, looking at the thick fog outside the window. He couldn't see the sun at all. It looked like it would be cloudy today. In that case, it was unknown when the fog would clear. Ring, 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 the bell for the end of class rang. The bell was timed, just like an alarm clock. It was set to ring automatically at a certain time every day. This was the bell for the morning exercises, but who would do morning exercises at this time? Originally, everyone who came was studying on their own, but no teacher came to class, so now no one in the classroom has settled down to study. People were doing all kinds of things. Hey, Xiao Yao, let's go to the supermarket to buy some food. I'm a little hungry. The fat boy came over and patted Xiao Yao on the shoulder. You scared me. Are you a pig? Didn't you have breakfast? It's only 2 classes now. Come on, I'll treat you to some sandwiches. I'm scared of you. Xiao Yao felt helpless and walked out of the classroom with the little fat boy. Although there was a lot of fog outside, they could probably find their way to the supermarket by groping along the wall with their eyes closed. The supermarket was not far from their classroom. After they walked out of the door and passed by 2 classrooms, they could hear the chattering and fighting in the 2 classrooms. When they arrived at the last classroom, Xiao Yao and the others jumped down the steps and walked 5 or 6 meters north along the path. When will this fog disappear? It smells so bad. It smells like urea. The voices of several classmates came from not far away. It seemed that they were also out to buy snacks. Don't say it, now that you mentioned it, I also feel the smell of urea. Let's go back to the classroom. The classroom doesn't have such a strong smell. Xiao Yao could vaguely see several classmates walking quickly past them. Xiao Yao also took a deep breath. Damn, it really smells like urea. Damn, I almost choked myself to death. Xiao Yao covered his mouth and nose with his school uniform. After filtering it a little, it really didn't smell so bad. Haha, Xiao Yao, are you a pig? You deliberately took a deep breath of the mist. The fat man didn't take the mist, but looking at Xiao Yao's expression, he knew that the mist really had a smell. I'm here to buy snacks with you. I want double the sandwich. Okay, double, who let me be a rich man? Hey, you made a fortune? Why don't you help your brothers? No way, it's because I rented a piece of land to someone else last night, and Wei Xin received some red envelopes. Although the fat man said it very naturally, he couldn't hide the pride on his face. Damn, you can make money by renting out the land you rented. Of course, do you want to play together? I'll rent it to you for free. Not interested. This is the first time I've heard that you can make money by playing games. No, I want 3 sandwiches. Brother, you can't do this. I only received a 20 yuan red envelope. I can't buy spicy strips with 3 sandwiches. Okay, 2 is 2. Xiao Yao and his friends came to the canteen. At this time, there were also many students buying snacks in the canteen. The fat boy went into the canteen to buy snacks. Xiao Yao stood at the door waiting for Zhou Tao. Not long after Xiao Yao and his friends left, Xiaozhen came out of the class next to Xiao Yao and walked towards Xiao Yao's class. Hello, can you help me call Xiao Yao? Xiaozhen knew that Xiao Yao was in the class next to him. He happened to meet Wang Wei who had just come out of Xiao Yao's class, so he asked Wang Wei to help call Xiao Yao. Oh, okay. Wang Wei saw that the one who called him was a beautiful classmate, so he didn't go to the toilet. Being able to serve a beautiful girl is something that boys dream of. Wang Wei turned back to the classroom and glanced at Xiao Yao's seat. It seemed that Xiao Yao was not there. Classmate, Xiao Yao seems to be out. Tell me if you have anything to say. I'll tell him when he comes back. Oh, no need, I'll wait for him here for a while. Although Xiaozhen is a vain little girl, it depends on the person. A loser like Wang Wei looks at her with a look that makes her feel uncomfortable. She can't help but think of Xiao Yao. She was so close to him, but he didn't show any reaction and even wanted to keep a distance from her, especially when Xiao Yao borrowed 7,000 yuan from her without a receipt, and punched Wang Hao with 2 punches without any ability to fight back. Thinking of this, Xiaozin was secretly happy. People are like this. The more they can't pursue something, the more they want it. Wang Wei was still looking at Xiaozin like a pig, his mouth almost drooling. Of course he knew Xiaozin. She was the class flower of the next class, although she was not the school flower, but for boys like them, the class flower next door was more realistic than the school flower. Thank you, classmate, you go and do your thing, I'll wait for Xiao Yao here. Xiaozin found that Wang Wei was still looking at her, and the red eyes made her feel uncomfortable. Oh, okay. Wang Wei reluctantly went to the toilet. He saw that Xiaozin seemed to only treat him as a passerby, and it was not good to destroy the image in her heart. It's the girl again, she has found her way to the class. Xiao Mo heard someone at the door looking for Xiao Yao, and she looked up unconsciously. It was that girl. When she went to the toilet, she saw Xiao Yao talking to her from a distance. Why did she come to find Xiao Yao? Is there any relationship between Xiao Yao and her? Xiaozin stood quietly at the door of the classroom, not knowing where Xiao Yao had gone, but when class started, Xiao Yao would definitely come back. At this time, the fat man had already bought all the snacks. He was really generous and bought 3 sandwiches for Xiao Yao. Here, the 3 you asked for, I bought them for you. Remember to come to the game to help me. Okay, let's wait until winter vacation. Okay. The little fat boy held the spicy strips in one hand and the bread in the other hand. When he bit down, the cream in the bread was squeezed out. It was orange and yellow, like some kind of liquid. He held the spicy strips in one hand and bit down. The red pepper of the spicy strips was still stuck to the little fat boy's mouth. The cream and pepper were stuck to the corners of the little fat boy's mouth. As the little fat boy chewed and squirmed, Xiao Yao felt a chill. Looking at the 3 breads in his hand, he didn't want to eat them. Forget it, just take it first and eat it when he's hungry. This damn fat guy bought 3 breads for himself, but he bought 5, and a bunch of spicy strips, all in a plastic bag, which he carried with a hand holding the spicy strips. He is really a foodie. The 2 walked to the classroom while eating bread. Of course, the fat guy was the only one eating bread. Xiao Yao really didn't have this hobby of eating bread with a urea-smelling fog. Huh? Xiaozin, why are you here? Xiao Yao came to the classroom and saw that it was not Xiaozin who was standing at the door. Brother Xiao Yao. Seeing Xiao Yao finally coming back, Xiaozin happily came over and pulled Xiao Yao's arm to hug him, but Xiao Yao dodged and said, "This is the classroom, it would be bad if other students saw us. I just missed brother Xiao Yao, so I came to see you." Xiaozin felt wronged, pouting her cherry lips. Her pitiful appearance made people feel pity. I have something else to do, I'll go back to the classroom first. Seeing this, the fat man ran away, and turned back to wink at Xiao Yao. Chapter 32, No Breakup After Graduation. Xiao Yao pulled Xiaozin to the back of the classroom. What's the matter? He really didn't want to be watched by so many people at the door of the classroom. At this time, the classmates in the classroom were all looking at the 2 of them at the door. Nothing, I just missed brother Xiao Yao, so I came to see you. By the way, my class is next door, you can come find me if you miss me. Xiaozin replied with a smile. Didn't I tell you that you don't have to be my girlfriend? I still have to be your girlfriend for a month to pay off my debts. Xiaozin stared at Xiao Yao's eyes and looked at him carefully. You don't have to pay back the debt. I didn't intend to ask you to pay back the money I borrowed from you. How can that be? I have principles. Xiaozin saw that she was staring at Xiao Yao's eyes, and Xiao Yao actually avoided her and didn't dare to look at her. She felt funny in her heart. Xiao Yao was so cool when fighting, but she didn't expect him to have such a shy side. But, I am pursuing you now. You can disagree, but I have the right to pursue you. From the moment Xiao Yao beat Wang Hao, she was ready to be Xiao Yao's girlfriend. It's nothing strange for a girl to pursue a boy. Why are you so persistent? How many college romances can have a result? Even if I agree to you being my girlfriend, we will definitely break up when we graduate. Why do we have to break up after graduation? We are in the same city. Even if we can't see each other every day, we can meet once a week, right? When the time comes, we can find a job and rent together. You? Xiao Yao looked into Xiaozin's eyes, which seemed to be full of sincerity. Does she really like him? Brother Xiao Yao, can we date for a while first? If you don't like me, it's not too late for us to break up later. Xiaozin seemed to see Xiao Yao's hesitation and directly hugged Xiao Yao's arm. Seeing that Xiao Yao did not pull his arm away, she could not help but hug him a little tighter. This was a small step for her. It would be easier once she started. She was just afraid that Xiao Yao was too stupid to start with her. Xiaozhen hugged his arms, feeling the softness. Xiao Yao fell. Anyway, he was a freshman now, without the tension of the college entrance examination, it would be fine to talk. Xiao Yao remembered the scene when he confessed to Gao Wei and was rejected. Although Xiao Yao seemed indifferent at that time, he felt really uncomfortable being rejected. Now that he had to reject Xiaozhen, she should feel uncomfortable too, as the other party was a girl. Alice, Xiao Yao sighed, stretched out his other hand and hugged Xiaozhen. If you want to break up, tell me in advance so that I can be mentally prepared. Brother Xiao Yao, do you agree? Xiaozhen was very happy. Xiao Yao hugged her, which meant that he agreed to let her be his girlfriend. We can try to start. Maybe in a few days, you will find that I am not the person you like. You must tell me in advance. Xiao Yao looked at Xiaozhen in his arms. She had delicate features and a light makeup on her face. She smelled neither strong nor light, as if it was just right. She had long hair draped over her shoulders, dyed in a fashionable yellow color, and a pink and white hairpin on her head, which made her look even cuter. She wore a light blue dress with pink and white lace on her chest. At this moment, Xiao Yao saw that Xiaozhen was not wearing a school uniform. But who cares today? There are not many classmates coming to school. The reason why Xiao Yao agreed to date Xiaozhen is more because of his understanding in the past few days. Instead of pursuing someone who doesn't like him, it is better to give someone who pursues him a chance. He is embarrassed to start with Xiaomo, but Xiao Yao doesn't feel so guilty about Xiaozhen. After all, Xiao Yao borrowed 7,000 yuan from Xiaozhen. He is the creditor, so he will just collect some interest. The two hugged for a while, but they didn't kiss like a couple in love, just hugged each other. Xiao Yao also wanted to kiss Xiaozhen, but he gave up awkwardly after trying several times. It was good to just hug each other. They were still too unfamiliar with each other and embarrassed to make a move. Okay, you should go back to the classroom. Class will start soon. It's all self-study. It's okay to go later. Xiaozhen hugged Xiao Yao's hands tightly. At this moment, she felt the most at ease in the past few days. Every girl needs a support. She had been staying in the shadow of borrowing during that time. If she was not careful, she would be doomed. She would even be awakened by nightmares occasionally. Xiao Yao's timely appearance had occupied a large place in her heart. Although he used the excuse of repaying the debt, her love for Xiao Yao was from the bottom of her heart. Thinking of this, Xiaozhen pressed her head on Xiao Yao's chest. Maybe this was the feeling of peace of mind. She didn't have to worry about repaying the loan, and she didn't have to worry about the school hooligans looking for trouble with her. Okay, go back quickly. I'll treat you to lunch at noon. Xiao Yao couldn't tear Xiaozhen's hand away, so he could only use soft tactics and treat her to lunch. After all, he was now a millionaire and could still afford to treat her to lunch. Okay, brother Xiao Yao, I'll come to see you at noon. See you there. Xiaozhen raised her head, blinked her eyes and acted coquettishly with Xiao Yao. See you there. Xiao Yao couldn't help but scratch Xiaozhen's nose. Boys have always been zero immunity to girls' coquetry, not to mention Xiao Yao who has never had a girlfriend. I'll take you home. Okay, Xiaozhen walked to the classroom before Xiao Yao, but held Xiao Yao's left hand with her right hand. Xiao Yao didn't struggle, and let Xiaozhen hold his hand and walk slowly to Xiaozhen's classroom like a couple. After all, it was foggy now, and there weren't many people watching. Not long after, they arrived at Xiaozhen's classroom. Xiao Yao let go of her hand. Okay, go in quickly, my classroom is next door anyway. Then Xiao Yao, I'm going back to the classroom. Wait for me at noon. Xiaozhen stood on tiptoe and touched Xiao Yao's lips like a dragonfly touching the water, then quickly ran into the classroom. Strawberry flavor, Xiao Yao licked his lips, a faint strawberry flavor. Xiao Yao grinned and shook his head. He didn't expect that he would have a girlfriend by accident. Strawberry flavor? Could this be the taste of love? He was really a little excited in his heart. He also had a girlfriend. Xiao Yao turned and walked towards his class. When Xiao Yao returned to the classroom, he was stared at by his classmates like a teacher. Although less than half of the class had come, the gaze of more than 30 pairs of eyes made Xiao Yao uncomfortable. He walked quickly to his seat. People in the classroom also gathered in twos and threes to discuss something. Anyway, during self-study, many students changed seats to the good classmates who usually played together. Hi, Xiao Yao. The fat boy pulled a stool with one hand and leaned on Xiao Yao's desk. Tell the truth, how did you win over Xiaozin, the class beauty next door? Class beauty? Xiao Yao was puzzled. Why is there another class beauty? Yes, Xiaozin is the class beauty next door, don't you know? I don't know. Xiao Yao was speechless. He didn't expect that his cheap girlfriend was also a class beauty. Tell me quickly, how did you win over her? The fat boy was excited, as if he was the one who won over the class beauty. Hurry up and give me some tips. I have liked a girl for a long time, but I have never had the courage to confess. Teach me. Alice, there is no way. He is too handsome. All the girls want to chase him. So, you two are really dating? I guess so. Just started. What do you mean by guess so? Well, I just agreed to his pursuit. Will you die if you don't brag? Hurry up and teach me some secrets. Xiao Yao glanced up and down at the fat man. I think first of all, you have to lose all this fat on your body. Damn, I'm not fat. I've told you so many times, these are all lean meat, they're strong. When the fat man heard Xiao Yao asking him to lose weight, he knew that to lose weight he had to eat less snacks, those delicious snacks. Between snacks and a girlfriend, forget it, I still don't want a girlfriend. The fat man returned to his seat angrily. It seemed that he could not let go of the delicious food in the world. Chapter 33 Class Beauty Girlfriend. Xiamo, who was beside Xiao Yao, of course heard their conversation. Xiao Yao had a girlfriend. Hearing this, Xiamo suddenly felt a pain in her chest. Was it all an illusion that Xiao Yao played with her? Did Xiao Yao not like her at all? Xiamo lay on the table and buried her head in her arms. Xiao Yao looked at Xiamo lying on the table and didn't dare to ask anything. He felt like he was having an affair outside, and his wife knew about it when he got home. Xiao Yao didn't ask Xiamo what was wrong. He had already agreed to date Xiaozin, so he shouldn't interfere with Xiamo's life too much. Thinking of this, Xiao Yao turned his head and looked at Gao Wei. Just then, his eyes met with Gao Wei's. Wang Wei, who was next to him, turned his head away and pretended not to see it. Gao Wei's eyes at Xiao Yao at this time were not smiling. She bit her lips with her teeth and stared at Xiao Yao. Although she didn't say anything, Xiao Yao felt that it was better not to speak. Xiao Yao smiled awkwardly and turned his head. When I confessed my love to Gao Wei, she already had another girlfriend so soon, which made my confession to Gao Wei seem like a casual remark and not sincere at all. But Gao Wei also had a boyfriend, so why did she look at me like that, making me feel like I was cheating on her? Xiao Yao felt confused. If he couldn't figure it out, he shouldn't bother her. He should just go back and do some exercises. Since his IQ increased to 13, it seemed very easy to do these questions. He could finish a test in a few tens of minutes. Xiao Yao felt that he was fully confident that he could get a top score in the final exam this time, and get rid of the hat of being the last in the past 6 months of his freshman year. It would also help his mother to save face. Otherwise, wouldn't it be embarrassing if no one came to the parent-teacher meeting? Several people had their own concerns and were silent. There was only the sound of several other students talking in a low voice. I didn't know if they were discussing the topic or something else. The whole morning passed in a daze. There was no teacher. If it weren't for the thick fog outside with a visibility of less than 5 meters, many people might have gone home directly. The sirens of ambulances and police cars outside the school never stopped throughout the morning, making it difficult for most people to concentrate on their studies. Only a few top students who were like meditating monks could study in a trance in this environment. Xiao Yao felt bored after studying for a while, and stopped doing the questions. He started playing with his mobile phone system. He had no tasks for 2 days, not even side quests. It seemed that he could only buy a large number of live chickens to upgrade. He had to go to the bank counter to withdraw money today. Xiao Yao tilted his head and looked at the thick fog outside the window. Alice, I wonder when this fog will disappear. If it doesn't disappear, he won't be able to do these things today. Xiao Yao, who was looking out the window, saw a figure appear at the door. It was Xiaozin or someone else. Xiaozin at the door saw Xiao Yao looking out and waved happily at him. Xiao Yao smiled and waved, then stood up and walked to the classroom door. It was already noon, and although the school bell hadn't rung yet, who was in charge now? He hadn't even seen a teacher all morning. Oh, the fat head of the grade showed up once, but he just leaned out the window and looked into the classroom a few times. He was probably counting a few students. Let's go to the cafeteria. Brother will take care of your meals today. Xiao Yao waved his hand, took Xiaozin's hand and walked towards the cafeteria. The cafeteria was a little far away, so Xiao Yao didn't feel shy to not hold Xiaozin's hand. What if she got lost in such a thick fog? No one would object to holding hands with his girlfriend. Okay, brother Xiao Yao. Xiaozin felt sweet. This was the first time that Xiao Yao took the initiative to hold her hand. It seemed that Xiao Yao already had her in his heart. When she turned around, Xiaozin saw that many people in Xiao Yao's class were looking at the door. It might be because women are direct. Xiaozin looked at Xiaomo and Gaowei next to her. The eyes of others were only curious. Only the eyes of these two girls were aggressive. Maybe one of these two girls was the girl Xiao Yao liked, the girl that Xiao Yao had not confessed to yet, but now Xiao Yao was hers. Xiaozin smiled demonstratively and waved in the direction of Xiaomo inside. Damn, beast, you said you didn't know me, but you held my hand. Fatty Joe Tao saw Xiao Yao holding the girl's hand and walking away, his eyes widened like cow eyes. They walked very slowly. On the way, some classmates had already walked to the cafeteria. Maybe most of the classmates didn't come, so there was no need to queue up in the cafeteria. What do you want to eat? Just order whatever you want. Xiao Yao waved his hand and said to Xiaozin at the food window. I don't know what to order, brother Xiao Yao, just order whatever you want, I'm not picky. Xiaozin didn't know what to order either, so she let Xiao Yao order whatever he wanted. Anyway, she was here to eat with Xiao Yao, so it didn't matter what she ate. She was like a little woman in love. You're ordering a cheap meal like you're going to a high-end place. Hurry up, people are waiting behind you. An inappropriate voice came from behind. Xiao Yao looked back and saw a boy with long hair. It was really disgusting. A boy with long hair, a descendant of the Qing dynasty? He didn't bother to talk nonsense with him. Xiao Yao turned his head and said, don't worry, just order whatever you want. I said I'll treat you to lunch. Besides, we just met, and I don't know what you like to eat. Okay, then order this, I'll eat rice. Xiaozin ordered potato ribs and fish-flavored pork shreds. Xiao Yao also ordered braised eggplant, cold cucumber, and a few steamed buns. The two of them took their ordered lunch and looked for an empty seat in the cafeteria. There were many empty seats today, so Xiao Yao decided to eat in the cafeteria today. Seeing an empty seat near the pillar on the second floor, let's go there, there's no one there. Xiao Yao and Xiaozin sat down at the dining table. As the saying goes, beauty is a feast for the eyes. It's different with a girlfriend. Eating is a kind of enjoyment. After lunch, the two of them walked out of the cafeteria hand in hand. Brother Xiao Yao, can you come to my classroom later? Anyway, we have self-study today, come to our class to study. Xiaozin hugged Xiao Yao's arm, and the two of them walked slowly to the classroom like a couple. Silly girl, are you afraid that Wang Hao and his people will cause trouble? Don't worry, since you are my girlfriend, I will definitely not let others bully you. If you have any problems, just come to the next class to find me. Xiao Yao patted Xiaozin's hand. Xiaozin liked him, maybe more because she liked the sense of security. He didn't know if she would still cling to him like this when she didn't need the sense of security in the future. Unconsciously, Xiao Yao seemed to like this feeling of being clingy. Xiao Yao hugged Xiaozin. No matter what, Xiaozin was his first love. Since you like the sense of security, I will give you enough sense of security. Chapter 34 Wearing a Mask. Xiao Yao and Xiaozin took a slow walk in the thick fog, which was quite interesting. It would be even better if the thick fog didn't have the faint pungent smell of urea. Just passing by a supermarket, seeing someone wearing a mask occasionally, Xiao Yao thought, yes, why not wear a mask, so that the pungent smell will be lessened, at least it can filter out the dust particles floating in the air. Xiaozin, go to the store and buy a mask to wear. Although most of the fog is water, it is also mixed with floating particles. It is also harmful to the human body to inhale these dust particles. Okay, brother Xiao Yao. Xiaozin didn't care where Xiao Yao was going. As long as she was with him, she could go anywhere. Boss, I want to buy 2 masks. What kind do you want? Yes, there are all kinds. It's foggy today, And there are more people buying PM2.5 anti-fog masks. Do you want this one? As he said that, he took out 2 white masks with breathing valves. Well, how about 2? How much? 10 yuan each, 20 yuan for 2. How much? 20 yuan in total. 2 masks for 20 yuan? How much do these usually cost? Xiao Yao thought he had heard wrong. 2 masks didn't look very high-end. The cloth masks you usually buy are only 2 yuan each. Is this material that looks denser than a mosquito net really useful? Usually it's 5 yuan, but this is an extraordinary period, and I don't have much left. I only have these 20 or so left in the box. Young man, if you don't buy them, these 10 yuan masks will be sold out later, and the remaining ones will be more expensive, and you can't afford them. As the aunt said, she took out a cardboard box to show Xiao Yao and the others. I saw that there were only a few masks left in a cardboard box. At a glance, it was probably what the aunt said, 20 or so. There is no way. If you buy an umbrella when it rains, the umbrella will definitely be expensive. Scarcity makes things expensive? No, no, no. Things are valuable only when they are needed urgently. In the current situation, you can decide whether to buy it or not. To be honest, it is okay not to buy it. It will expose you to the mist. If you breathe too much dust, it will cause lung infection. The cost of treatment may be more than 10 yuan. In today's society, you are embarrassed to get sick if you don't have 10,000 or 8,000 yuan. Looking at the few dozen masks left in the box, Xiao Yao thought for a while. Anyway, he has money now, so why not buy them all? How many are left? I want all of them. All of them? Come on. There are 23 in total. I'll charge you 230. The aunt found a packaging bag, put the remaining masks into the plastic bag, and handed it to Xiao Yao. Xiao Yao took out 300 yuan from his trouser pocket. Here, give me 70 yuan change. He took the plastic bag, took out 2 masks from it, handed one to Xiaozin, and opened the package himself. This small piece is 10 yuan, which is enough for 2 meals. Brother Xiao Yao, do you think I look good wearing it? Xiaozin put on the mask, squinted her eyes, and smiled. Xiao Yao looked back at Xiaozin. At that moment, Xiao Yao suddenly felt that Xiaozin looked really beautiful. With a mask on, Xiaozin only showed a pair of peach blossom eyes, like a deep pool, which made people want to fall into it involuntarily, especially when she smiled. The water covered the mist and the charm was seductive. Beauty is simply a gift from God to me. The 4 beauties in ancient times are no more than this. Wearing a mask itself is the fastest way to improve your appearance. What's more, Xiaozin is still a beauty. A beauty wearing a mask is even more beautiful. You are so talkative. Xiaozin was happy to hear Xiao Yao praise herself. Brother Xiao Yao, I want to go to the toilet. Can you come with me? I'm scared to go alone. Xiaozin hugged Xiao Yao's arm and said in a cuddly way. Okay. After taking the change from the boss, the 2 of them left the store. Xiao Yao let Xiaozin hold Xiao Yao's arm, and the 2 of them slowly walked to the toilet in the thick fog. The cafeteria was on the west side of the school, and the toilet was on the east side of the school. To go to the toilet, you need to cross half of the playground. In such a thick fog, Xiao Yao was worried about letting Xiaozin go to the toilet alone. Brother Xiao Yao, I'm actually quite curious about how you got the 10,000 yuan bonus. Can you tell me about it? Nothing, I just helped an old lady who fell on the road. Is helping old ladies who fell down so profitable now? No, I have to go to the roadside when I have nothing to do next time, ready to help old ladies who fell down at any time, so that I can buy a new model of Apple mobile phone. Xiaozin said with a smile. Xiao Yao touched his nose. Ahem, that's not necessarily true. If anyone who helped an old lady was given money, the Public Security Bureau would have gone bankrupt long ago. That's right, then brother Xiao Yao, why did they give you money this time? Xiaozin thought about it and it was true. If anyone who helped an old lady who fell down was given money, the Public Security Bureau would have gone bankrupt long ago. Maybe, I'm more handsome. Xiao Yao said awkwardly, without mentioning the reason in the beginning. Brother Xiao Yao, you are so conceited. Xiaozin responded with a smile, hurry up and tell me, if possible, I can pay you back earlier. I've already said, you don't need to pay it back. Xiao Yao was speechless for a while. This little girl was still thinking about paying back the money. Although Xiaozin was a little vain, It seemed that her nature was not bad. No, Xiaozin pulled Xiao Yao's arm and shook it. If you tell me a secret, I will tell you a secret. What secret? Xiao Yao pondered for a while. Xiao Yao didn't care about Xiaozin paying back the money, but the secret Xiaozin said made Xiao Yao a little interested. HMPH, seeing that you are smiling so evilly, you must have thought of something wrong. Xiaozin pursed her lips. Anyway, tell me and I'll tell you. Okay, I'll tell you, but you can't tell anyone else, because this matter may damage their image. Don't worry, I'm very tight-lipped. Xiaozin also covered her mouth with her hand in an image. Xiao Yao looked at Xiaozin's mouth. Indeed, a cherry mouth shouldn't say anything nonsense. Actually, it's nothing. The old lady was a fraud. The police initially sentenced me to pay 1,000 yuan to the other party, but later I don't know why they changed it and gave me a bonus of 10,000 yuan. I'm a little confused myself. Xiao Yao really didn't know why the police came to overturn the case themselves. Was there a surveillance camera nearby? Or was there another reason? No matter what the reason was, although he didn't want to step into the Public Security Bureau again, Xiao Yao felt that it was necessary to go again to find out the reason. What exactly was the reason for them to overturn the case themselves? If a police officer found out the whole story, he would definitely give them a banner or something. It seems that the order brushing thing can't be done. Xiaozin sighed. Brushing orders? What does that mean? Xiao Yao was confused. How did this new term come out? Oh, brushing orders, don't you know what it means? I don't know. How about you explain it to me? I won't tell you anymore. I'm at the toilet. I'm going to the toilet. Wait for me at the door. Don't run around. Xiaozin said hello and went into the toilet. Xiao Yao stood at the door of the toilet. The men's and women's toilets were together. The left door was the men's toilet and the right door was the women's toilet. Xiao Yao stood as far to the left as possible. Although he was waiting for his girlfriend, if a boy stood at the door of the women's toilet, he might be caught as a hooligan and a peeping Tom. Brother Lee, my iPhone 7s is a bit stuck. I want to change to the latest iPhone 8. A curly-haired girl said coquettishly to greasy and powdered watermelon-headed cream boy. Let's go to the small woods on the north side of the school playground. The watermelon head hugged the girl's waist. That's annoying, Brother Lee. It's daytime now. What's wrong with daytime? There's so much fog. Besides, even if someone sees us, who would dare to say anything? Brother Deo and I are acquaintances. I can fire him with a word. Well, fine, but he wants the latest iPhone 8. Don't give up until you see the rabbit. Here, this is my iPhone 8. I just bought it a few days ago. I'm giving it to you, but you have to make me satisfied. Thank you, Brother Lee. Don't worry. The curly-haired girl touched the iPhone happily. This was the latest iPhone 8. She went to the mobile phone store every day to look at mobile phones these days, but she didn't buy one every time. The salesperson in the mobile phone store was almost annoyed. So, based on her understanding of iPhone 8, it was definitely real. Besides, with Brother Lee's status, he wouldn't use a fake one. Damn. The watermelon-headed man cursed in a low voice with disgust. The curly-haired girl was called Wang Lily, and she was from Class 2, Grade 14 of the accounting department. He was from Class 2, Grade 14 of business administration. Although he and the curly-haired girl were lovers, he could still change girlfriends whenever he wanted. Wang Lily was very good at catering to his mood. Although the watermelon-headed man had changed many girlfriends privately, he had never broken up with Wang Lily. At first, he also thought that Wang Lily had several boyfriends, so she was so sensible and experienced, but after asking around, he found that she didn't have a boyfriend either. Maybe he didn't ask around enough? In short, although Li Feng didn't want to talk to Wang Lily, he kept lingering. Who cares? Anyway, everyone just got what they needed. He didn't lack money. Li Feng put his right hand around Wang Lily's thin waist, and his left hand couldn't wait. Brother Lee, we haven't reached the grove yet. Wait a minute. What are you afraid of? I've given you the phone, but you still have so many things to do. If you don't want the phone, give it to me. Li Feng didn't listen to Wang Lily's plea for mercy. Brother Lee, be gentle. Although Wang Lily had sex with Li Feng many times, they were all in hotels. At school, Wang Lily still showed the image of a good girl. If she was seen by her classmates, her image of a good girl would be ruined. However, Wang Lily looked at the thick fog around her and thought, forget it, everything is for the iPhone 8. Brother Lee, look at what you said. I'm just afraid that other girls will see you and think you have a girlfriend. It will prevent other girls from pursuing you, and that would be a loss for Brother Lee. You are the only one who can say that. The two of them hid in the grove on the north side of the playground. There were a few rows of chairs in the grove. They might have been used for students to cool off, but over time they became a good place for couples to have a tryst. After all, it was far away from the classroom and convenient for doing things. After a while, inexplicable voices came from the thick fog. There were men and women. Who knows what they were doing in the thick fog? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35 Screaming in the Fog. Wang Lily picked up the iPhone 8 next to her and couldn't let it go. Brother Lee, it's a bit cold here, let's go back to the classroom. Although she was talking to Li Feng, Wang Lily's eyes didn't leave her iPhone. Li Feng had just bought it a few days ago, so it could be said to be 90% new. No one would notice it if she told her girlfriends that it was brand new. Thinking of it, she felt happy again. It's actually very easy to make money, as long as you don't take it lightly. Li Feng didn't respond to Wang Lily for a long time. Wang Lily also looked at Li Feng curiously. Brother Lee, Brother Lee. Wang Lily gently patted Li Feng's shoulder. Li Feng, who had his eyes closed, suddenly opened his eyes, and Wang Lily was so scared that she sat on the ground all of a sudden. It wasn't for anything else, but Li Feng's eyes were completely wide at this time, which was very scary. The iPhone 8 also fell to the side. Brother Lee, what's wrong with you? Hungry? Wang Lily responded to Li Feng's hoarse voice from his throat. Hungry? Did Brother Lee wear a pair of white contact lenses when she wasn't paying attention? Brother Lee, don't scare me. This cosplay is not fun at all. Brother Lee, please say something. Li Feng, who was lying on the bench, followed Wang Lily's voice and tilted his head towards Wang Lily. As if to protest, he opened his mouth and showed his bloody teeth. Regardless of whether Li Feng was playing cosplay or not, the scene at this time severely stimulated Wang Lily's nerves. Wang Lily hurriedly got up, and before leaving, she did not forget to pick up the iPhone 8 on the ground and ran to the classroom in a panic. Li Feng, who was lying on the bench, watched Wang Lily run away and disappear into the mist. He kept whispering hoarsely, hungry. He stretched out his hands to grab Wang Lily, but he fell off the bench. Li Feng stood up tremblingly. He had just finished a battle and had not yet pulled up his pants. When he stood up, his pants were scratched to his calves as his body shook. He fell to the ground before he took a step. Li Feng slowly climbed up again. Perhaps he had adapted to this body, so he got up a little faster this time. He walked slowly in the direction where Wang Lily left. Because his pants scratched his calves, he walked very slowly, revealing his white thighs. Black blood was slowly flowing down the back of his right leg. His right buttocks were no longer white buttocks. At this time, his buttocks looked like a piece of meat that had been rotten for a long time. The black and red blood was flowing down along the rotten buttocks. A high-pitched soprano sounded in Xiao Yao's ears, followed by the sound of a person falling to the ground. Hey classmate, you bumped into me, why are you screaming so loudly? Xiao Yao picked his ears were almost deafened by the shouting. He was waiting for Xiaozin to go to the toilet at the door of the toilet, and suddenly someone bumped into him from behind, almost knocking him down. Just when he was about to turn around and scold the other person, he found that it was a girl and didn't dare to say anything. However, why did you scream first when you bumped into someone? Although he was hit, the other person was lying on the ground. Xiao Yao was too embarrassed to say anything else, just helped the girl up on the ground. You didn't get hurt, did you? The one who bumped into someone was Wang Lily, who was running towards the classroom from the north side of the playground in a panic. Without saying sorry, Wang Lily got up and ran to the classroom quickly again. Xiao Yao looked at the girl who ran towards the classroom as if she was running for her life, and shook his head. What a big deal. Brother Xiao Yao, I kept you waiting for a long time. At this time, Xiaozin had finished using the toilet and came out of the toilet. It's my honor to wait for my girlfriend. Xiao Yao touched Xiaozin's head and took Xiaozin's hand and walked towards the classroom. Hungry? Brother Xiao Yao, did you hear any sound? Xiaozin stopped and looked to the north. The line of sight was 5 meters thick fog, and she couldn't see far, but she seemed to hear some sound just now. What sound is there? You must have heard it wrong. Xiao Yao hugged Xiaozin's waist. Go back to the classroom quickly. It's not good to be in the fog all the time. The fog is usually dust particles, which are also toxic. Even if you wear a mask, you can still breathe it. Try to breathe less. Yeah, okay. Xiao Yao looked back to the north. He also heard some sound just now, and the moment he heard it, his hair stood up all over his body. This sound was so strange and familiar, like the sound of zombies that appeared in his dreams again and again. Xiao Yao wanted to check it out. Although he had surpassed ordinary adults because of his attributes after reaching level 5, Xiaozin was still around and his vision was not good. Xiao Yao didn't want to take risks, so he could only send Xiaozin back to the classroom first. Because of something on his mind, Xiao Yao and Xiaozin walked faster and soon arrived at the door of Xiaozin's classroom. Brother Xiao Yao, can you take me home tonight? It's too foggy today and I'm scared. Xiaozin pouted and acted like a spoiled child. No problem, come find me after school. Xiao Yao touched Xiaozin's head. Come in quickly. Xiao Yao watched Xiaozin walk into the classroom. Many classmates in Xiaozin's class were also looking at Xiao Yao at the door. After all, Xiaozin was the class flower in their class, and they were also curious about what kind of person could pick up the class flower Xiaozin. Is it her? Xiao Yao accidentally glanced at a girl. It was not the girl who bumped into him just now. She had dyed yellow hair, which should be permed into big waves, but it still looked a little messy at this time. Her eyes were still like a frightened rabbit, scanning the door with a slightly frightened expression, as if she was looking for someone or waiting for someone. Xiao Yao was too lazy to care. It was just a girl bumping into him. He couldn't run into someone else's classroom and bump into her again. After watching Xiaozin walk to the left of the curly-haired girl and sit down not far away, Xiao Yao smiled and greeted Xiaozin and went back to his classroom. Ah! A scream came from the north side of the classroom, which sounded creepy. Ah! Another scream came, and then there was no sound. The classroom was so quiet that everyone could hear each other's heartbeats. Who is this? You screamed and scared me. Fatty Joe Tao patted his chest, leaving a lot of cream marks on his chest. It seemed that this fat guy was eating bread again. He was really a foodie. But no one laughed at the fat guy at this time, because everyone was scared by the scream just now. Many people also patted their chests. People scared people to death. There were also fearless people lying on the north window looking north, but there was nothing to see except fog. Xiao Yao's heart was beating hard at this time. This sound was not normal. It didn't sound like some bored classmate yelling randomly, because the sound was mixed with fear and pain, not a simple scream. Xiao Yao felt a panic in his heart for no reason. Should he go and have a look? Chapter 36 Supermarket Shopping. After a while, there were no more screams in the thick fog, and the students gradually recovered and were not so scared. Maybe it was a bored classmate who was scaring people. Xiao Yao wanted to go back to the toilet to check the sound he just heard, but the environment did not allow it. First, the visibility was less than 5 meters, and second, his reconnaissance skill range was only 1 meter. If he rashly checked, it would be fine if there was nothing, but if there was something, it would be dangerous. Xiao Yao felt that he was overthinking. After all, this is the real world, how could there be zombies? He must be worrying too much? He must find a handy weapon as soon as possible. He didn't know what the probability of a zombie outbreak was, but if one day he really had bad luck and encountered it, at least he should not make mistakes in weapon selection and use, otherwise he would not be willing to die. China is a country with a large population. If a zombie crisis really breaks out, the chance of survival is very slim. The gun control here is very strict. It can be said that guns are out of the question. The only thing left is cold weapons. The control of controlled knives is also very strict. Knives with a tip less than 60 degrees are considered controlled knives. It is said that even if you buy a kitchen knife, you have to register it. Xiao Yao glanced at the classroom, the table, the stool, the broom, the mop. It seems that there is nothing to use for defense. It is best to get a long weapon, a spear, a long gun, a stick, etc., to eliminate the danger as far as possible from a safe distance. Xiao Yao came to the back of the classroom and picked up the mop. It seems that he can only use this to deal with it temporarily. Xiao Yao took the mop, walked out of the classroom door, and directly called his mother with brain waves, telling his mother not to go out if there is nothing to do today. The call cannot be dialed. A prompt sound rang in his mind. Oh my god, what's going on? Xiao Yao took out his cell phone and found that there was no signal on the cell phone, not even one bar. Then Xiao Yao directly edited a text message to his mother, asked where his mother was, and told her not to go out today. After editing, he copied it and sent a message to his father. After sending it, he called his father again, but the call could not be dialed out. Xiao Yao looked at the text message again and found that there was an exclamation mark in front of the text message, and the text message could not be sent. For some reason, the cell phone could no longer make calls or send text messages. Xiao Yao returned to the classroom. Fatty, lend me your phone. What for? Don't rummage around. The fat man took out his cell phone, fearing that Xiao Yao would rummage around and find out some of his little secrets. Don't worry, I just called my mother, and my cell phone has no signal. Then, here. The fat man handed the cell phone to Xiao Yao, and his eyes were still staring at Xiao Yao's fingers, as if he was going to snatch the phone away if Xiao Yao turned over something. Here you go. Xiao Yao took a look at the fat man's cell phone, and there was no signal, so he handed it to the fat man directly. No need. The fat man was still staring at Xiao Yao's finger, but Xiao Yao took it and gave it to him. What? Your phone has no signal. Ah. The fat man took the phone and found that there was really no signal. Maybe the fog is too thick and the signal can't get through. Yes, but this fog is not normal. I always have a bad feeling. You should be more alert and don't lie down and sleep for no reason. The fat man finished eating the bread and lay down and slept for no reason. He studied in the morning, but he didn't study if the teacher didn't come. The teacher doesn't come either. You can't let me study by myself all the time. I'm not that self-disciplined. The fat man muttered. It's okay to study by myself for a while, but I studied by myself for a whole morning, and there was not even a teacher to check. Oh, only the head of the grade and the counselor came once in the middle, and then no one came. How can I study without anyone watching? The little fat man felt uncomfortable all over. Studying is not like eating bread. You can eat it without anyone watching. Xiao Yao glanced at his deskmate Xiao, who had a serious face, not at all like her usual playful expression. Xiao Yao could not say anything more. After all, he already had a girlfriend, so he should not bother others anymore. Xiao Yao sat in his seat, his expression dignified. The thick fog had not disappeared, which was not normal. In the past, fog usually appeared in the early morning and would slowly disappear after dawn. This time, the fog was not only thick, but it was already past 1 in the afternoon, but there was still no sign of it fading. If it continued like this, it might not even dissipate after school in the afternoon. How could we go home in this environment? Go home in the dark again? This was different from when we came in the morning. When we came in the morning, the visibility was still quite far away. Now the visibility was really hard to grasp the direction. No, we had to go buy some food. In case the fog was too heavy to go home, we might have to stay in the classroom all night. Xiao Yao picked up the mop. Fatty, let's go to the supermarket to buy some things. Xiao Yao patted Fatty's shoulder and took him to the supermarket to buy some food. Okay. He had already eaten the bread. The fat man wanted to take Xiao Yao to the canteen again, but Xiao Yao went there first before he could say anything. I say, Xiao Yao, why are you going to the supermarket to get a mop? The fat man found that Xiao Yao was carrying a mop, and was a little puzzled. He went to the canteen with a mop. Was he going to rob? For self-defense. Oh, how many snacks do you want to buy? Are you afraid that others will rob you? Don't worry about it, go and come back quickly. Why are you in a hurry? It's just buying snacks. Besides, no one cares now. After leaving the classroom door, along the next class, through the window, you can see that there are not many people in the 2 classes, and they are all chattering and playing. Seeing them playing, Xiao Yao relaxed a lot. After all, when there are many people, you will feel safe. After turning the corner and walking north for 6 or 7 meters, the supermarket appeared in front of him. Xiao Yao and his friends entered the supermarket. At this time, no one was buying things in the canteen. There was only an aunt in her 50s or 60s watching the store. Young man, are you hungry again? What do you want to buy this time? The auntie knew the fat man Zhou Tao. After all, Zhou Tao was also his old customer. Give me 5 sandwiches, 5 sausages, and 5 packs of pure milk. The fat man Xiao Yao made the auntie smile as soon as he opened his mouth. Okay, right away. The auntie turned around with a smile and went to get the items that the fat man wanted. After a while, the auntie prepared the goods that Xiao Yao wanted. Looking at Xiao Yao, who came in with Xiao Yao, she didn't say anything, and said to Xiao Yao, "Young man, what do you want to order?" "Oh, what he wants, give me 10 times the amount," Xiao Yao said lightly. "Oh, okay, 10 sandwiches, 10 sausages, and 10 packs of pure milk, right?" The auntie also reported the number again to confirm with Xiao Yao. "It's not 10, it's 10 times, 50 each." Poof. Xiao Yao, who was drinking milk, choked and coughed, cough, cough. "Young man, are you sure you want 50 each?" "Sure." "Okay, wait a minute, it'll be ready soon." The aunt's eyes narrowed into slits with laughter. He didn't ask why she bought 50 servings. Maybe she bought them to give to the whole class. Who cares? Making money is all that matters. Cough, cough. The fat man coughed for a long time, took a breath, and finally recovered. "Xiao Yao, why did you buy so much? They will go bad soon if you can't finish them. Besides, our classroom is not far from the supermarket. We can buy more after we finish eating. I need them. Can you help me carry them later? I want 5 loaves of bread." "No problem. I also want 5 sausages." "Okay. I also want 5 packs of pure milk." "Okay. I want more." "Shut up. If you want more, I'll go back to the classroom and let others carry them for me." Okay, just 5 servings each. Help me carry the pure milk later." "No problem." Xiao Yao grinned. After all, he could get so much food by carrying some pure milk. It saved him too much money. Free food is always the most delicious, isn't it? The 3 loaves of bread he gave Xiao Yao last time not only paid back his investment, but he also made a profit. The fat man finished the pure milk in 2 gulps, threw the packaging box directly on the ground, and then happily put all his food into a plastic bag and tied it up. Chapter 37, Accident in the Operating Room. The blood pressure is low, B ultrasound shows right kidney rupture, parasplenic effusion, and abdominal puncture shows intraperitoneal bleeding. Time is life. In a critical moment, Director Kui of the Department of Hepatobiliary Surgery made a bold decision. Pre-operative preparations should be made immediately, and we should enter the operating room. During the operation, it was found that the patient's right kidney and vena cava were ruptured, and blood was pouring out. Upon hearing the news, Jens Huygen, a urologist, rushed to the scene and performed the operation together. The patient who was being operated on in the operating room was a seriously injured patient who was sent in from a car accident today. Because of the foggy weather, this was the 3rd seriously injured patient sent in. The emergency department of the entire hospital was already busy, and ambulances were constantly sending patients with sirens. The patient sent to the operating room was lying on the operating table, and he had already fainted due to excessive blood loss. The operation was going on intensely, and the 2 surgeons were performing the operation in an orderly and tense manner, and 3 nurses were delivering various tools on the side. No one noticed that the patient who was originally in a coma lying on the operating table had opened his eyes, and his eyes were white without a trace of black, which was very scary. Hungry. The patient's throat made a faint sound, which was so obvious in the quiet operating room at this time, but the 2 surgeons did not tilt their heads. They must concentrate during the operation, otherwise the operation will fail if they are not careful, so they did not tilt their heads at this time, and the 2 nurses were also nervously delivering the tools. "Xiao-sun, check the patient's condition." The surgeon, Director Kui, said to the intern nurse Xiao-sun, asking her to check the patient's condition. "Okay." Xiao-sun was seen carrying a plate and came to the other side of the sterile cloth, because during the operation, a piece of cloth would be covered in front of the patient, so as to prevent the patient from suddenly waking up and seeing his stomach being cut open and fainting, and secondly, it can allow the doctor to focus more on the operation and reduce distraction. So the other 4 people could not see the face of the person who was doing the operation. They just heard the patient move, maybe he woke up from a coma, but some people are naturally immune to anesthetics, maybe he woke up from the pain of the anesthesia. Ah. Dang. Intern nurse Xiao-sun saw that the patient lying on the operating table opened his eyes and was wide at this time, and was so scared that she threw the surgical tray on the ground. Swish. Dr. Kui, The surgeon in charge was frightened by this, and the scalpel went astray and pierced his left finger. Xiao-san, get out of here. Dr. Kui was furious and asked her to check the patient's condition. She was so startled that her hand trembled and the scalpel went astray and pierced her left finger. Doctors usually try to avoid contact with patient's blood. After all, no one can guarantee whether the patient's blood is normal. If it contains HIV or other messy viruses, it will be difficult to deal with. After all, an operation only costs a few hundred yuan, and the commission is a few hundred. If he gets injured, it is not enough to cover the medical expenses. Doctor, he. Xiao-san pointed at the patient with white eyes and was already incoherent. Get out quickly, don't affect the operation. Dr. Kui scolded Xiao-san again. Xiao-san was so scared that she rolled and crawled out of the operating room. She was so scared that she estimated that her internship career was scrapped. Even if she wanted to do it, no doctor would want a nurse like her. After all, no doctor would dare to hire a nurse with such poor mental quality. Xiao Wang, disinfectant, bandage me, quick, the operation can't stop. A nurse quickly took the disinfectant from the table next to her and disinfected Director Kui's fingers. Hungry. The patient was crying again, and his legs curled up, and his body swayed from side to side, just like he had just woken up from a long sleep and wanted to move his body. But this scared the doctors. After all, the operation was only half done. How can you do the operation if you move around like this? If there's a heavy bleeding, it will be a medical accident if you are not careful. Director Yan, quickly, control the patient's legs and don't let him shake around. Xiao Qi, hold the patient's shoulders. Xiao Wang, go call Xiao Li from the anesthesia department and quickly perform a second anesthesia. There's only one possibility for the body to move around, that is, the anesthesia has failed, and a second anesthesia is necessary. Some people are naturally immune to anesthetics. If the second anesthesia doesn't work, then a forced operation will be performed. Okay. Nurse Xiao Wang immediately left the operating room. The anesthesia department was not far away. Nurse Xiao Qi just reached out from the head to hold the patient's shoulders, and was bitten by the patient's tilted head. She saw the patient rolling his eyes, but she thought it might be because the patient was in pain, and she didn't think about it. As a nurse, her psychological quality was quite high. What's wrong, Xiao Qi? Director Kui was really angry. It was fine if an intern nurse had poor psychological quality, but a formal nurse was also making such a fuss. How could the operation be carried out? The patient bit me. Hiss, it hurts. Xiao Qi held her wrist tightly. The place where she was bitten was her wrist. At this time, there was a tooth mark, and the skin was also bitten. Blood was flowing out. Bandage it immediately, go to the preparation room to get the fixation belt, fix it, and perform the forced operation. We can't wait. Director Kui watched the patients shaking more and more. Seeing that Director Yan could no longer hold down the patient's legs, the operation was halfway done, and the rest was to sew. Unexpectedly, the patient woke up in pain at this time. This was the first time in her surgical career that she had encountered such a situation. Swish. What Director Kui, Director Yan, and Nurse Xiao Qi, who had not left yet, did not expect was that the patient actually turned over and fell off the operating table by himself, stretching out his hand to grab Xiao Qi's direction. Xiao Qi screamed and ran away. After all, the patient's pale eyes and cracked bloody teeth frightened a nurse who was used to seeing surgical scenes. Even Director Kui and Director Yan, who had many years of surgical experience, were shocked at this moment. What they saw was a patient who was halfway through the operation, but now he was crawling on the ground towards Xiao Qi. Because the operation had not been sutured yet, his internal organs and intestines were all on the ground, and blood was flowing all over the ground. Gulp. Director Kui swallowed hard and whispered, Director Yan, what should I do? He was also a little confused. This situation is simply rare. A patient who was halfway through the operation was lying on the ground with his stomach pulling his intestines and internal organs. This picture made Director Kui's head dazed. I don't know, how about going out first? Director Yan was also confused. He had never encountered such a situation in his medical career. Hungry. The patient who failed to catch up with Xiao Qi was attracted by the conversation between the two surgeons. He tilted his head and looked at Director Kui and Director Yan. Damn, run. Director Kui cursed, and even the experienced doctors were shocked. His eyes were white, his mouth was full of blood, His internal organs were still in a mess under his stomach, and blood was all over the floor. This scene was no longer a problem of psychological quality. The two staggered out of the operating room. Director Kui hurriedly closed the door of the operating room. Hiss, he accidentally pinched a finger that had just been bandaged, and a piercing pain went straight to his heart. Chapter 38. The doctor performed surgery but got infected. Old Kui, what happened to you? As soon as they ran out of the operating room, Director Kui fainted. At this time, Director Kui was sitting on the ground leaning against the edge of the table. Director Yan kept shaking Director Kui. Why did you faint at this time? Wake up. Director Yan was afraid that the patient in the operating room would crawl out, but he didn't want to stay in this place at all. However, he and Director Kui were also very good friends. He was really worried about leaving Director Kui here alone, and Director Kui was still in a coma. Hungry. Director Kui, who had been shaken for a long time, finally woke up slowly at this time, and a low voice came from the depths of his throat. Great, you finally woke up. Let's leave here first, and let the security department come up to deal with it later. This operation can't be done. The patient's life or death depends on his own luck. At this time, he didn't care whether it was a medical accident or not. After all, no one could intervene in this situation. They were good doctors, but when they were threatened, it was really difficult for them to be angels who saved lives. Hungry. Director Kui's neck seemed to have no strength to support his head. Director Kui's head drooped. Director Yan went to support Director Kui's face. Hey, wake up. Oh. Director Yan was responded by Director Kui's bloody mouth. Director Kui opened his mouth wide and bit Director Yan's arm. Ah. You're fucking crazy. Let go. It hurts so much. Director Yan was shaking with pain at this moment. Director Kui had totally disregarded the past friendship and was really merciless when he bit him. Ah! A heart-wrenching voice roared out from Director Yan's mouth. Director Yan took several steps back and sat on the ground with a stagger. What he saw was his torn right arm, which was covered in blood. Director Yan could even see that the tendons at his wrist had been broken into two. Director Yan tried to move it, but found that he could no longer control his right hand. You're fucking sick. Director Yan, who was halfway through his words, seemed to have his throat pinched by someone and could not utter a sound. Director Kui was slowly standing up, his eyes were wide, his mouth was full of blood, and he was still chewing, as if he had not yet finished the delicious food. Director Kui, don't come over here. Don't come over here. Director Yan's legs were so weak from fear that he couldn't stand up at all. He could only use his left hand to support himself and crawl backwards. The fear had made Director Yan forget the pain in his right wrist. Now he just wanted to escape. Help, help, Xiao Wang, someone come quickly. Director Yan used all his strength to stand up against the wall, and moved slowly with his trembling legs, watching Director Kui rushing over. Squeak. The sound of the door opening attracted both Director Kui and Director Yan to look over. The difference was that Director Kui looked over mechanically with an expressionless face, while Director Yan looked over with a happy expression of having survived a disaster. Was it someone who came to save his life? Exclamation mark. The door slowly opened, and a nurse in a green surgical gown mechanically moved into the room and looked at the place where Director Yan had just shouted for help. It's over. Director Yan slid down to the ground again. It was Xiao, their assistant nurse, who came in. Xiao's eyes had turned wide at this time. It seemed that he was controlled by an unknown virus just like Director Kui. Bang, bang. The infected people in the operating room were attracted by Director Yan's cry for help again. They kept banging on the door of the operating room. Perhaps they felt that there was no hope of escape. Director Yan calmed down at this time. His legs stopped shaking. He didn't know where he got the strength from, but he slowly stood up. No, I must escape. Director Yan glanced around, and there were really no suitable weapons in his sight. There were only 2 tables, 2 stools, and several filing cabinets. I got it. There was a fire extinguisher box next to the filing cabinet. Through the glass, Director Yan saw a fire axe in the box. Director Yan quickly trotted to the fire extinguisher box. Fortunately, the fire extinguisher box was only wrapped with a wire. If a key was needed to open it at this time, Director Yan would not have to wait for the 2 infected people to come over. He would just kill himself. He hurriedly twisted the wire with his left hand and opened the glass door. Director Yan took out the fire axe inside, Who? The fire axe was quite heavy. At this time, Director Yan's right hand was drooping, and he could only pick up the fire axe with his left hand. The left hand of a person is weaker than the right hand. Director Yan was really afraid that he was not strong enough to control the two infected people. Director Yan glanced at the stool in front of him and kicked Director Kui hard with his foot. He saw that Director Kui, who was about to pounce on Director Yan, was separated by the stool and was stretching out his hands to grab in the direction of Director Yan. It seems that there is no threat. Director Yan also discovered at this time that the infected Director Kui and Xiaoqi seemed to have greatly reduced flexibility in movements, and their accusation had also deteriorated. Seeing this, Director Yan felt that the possibility of survival was higher. Director Yan swung the fire axe in his left hand across the stool and swung it hard at Director Kui, who was making a fuss. The fire axe hit Director Kui's arm, cutting open the dark green coat, and blood oozing out, but Director Kui seemed unaware of the pain, and kept grabbing at Director Yan, biting Director Yan with his mouth, making a da-da sound. Go to hell. At the moment of life and death, Director Yan burst out with strength far beyond his usual level. After a few chops from the axe, Director Kui finally collapsed to the ground, motionless. Even Director Yan, who had performed countless operations, did not dare to look at Director Kui at this moment, because Director Kui at this moment had been chopped beyond recognition by Director Yan, with half of his head gone. After dealing with Director Kui, the remaining Xiaoqi would be easy to deal with, because Xiaoqi had been stuck on the other side of the desk and could not come over. He just stupidly stretched out his hand and roared towards Director Yan. Director Yan chopped the infected Xiaoqi to death with a few chops across the desk. Finally, the two infected people were eliminated. Director Yan sat on the only remaining complete chair. He was exhausted at this time. He picked up a mobile phone on the table with great effort. He didn't know who it belonged to. At this time, there was no other way but to call the police. He picked up the phone with his trembling left hand and pressed the alarm number. Sorry, the call cannot be dialed. Bang! Director Yan raised his left hand and threw the phone out with force. He failed at a critical moment and couldn't make a call at this time. Hiss! The pain in his right hand suddenly began to hurt. At this moment of life and death, he didn't take care of his injuries just now. Only then did he realize that his right hand had turned purple. No, it must be disinfected and bandaged. If this goes on, he will lose too much blood and fall into coma. Director Yan stood up. Just as he was about to find disinfection and bandaging tools, he saw countless small stars in front of his eyes, and his eyelids became extremely heavy. Bang! Then Director Yan collapsed to the ground. His injured right hand was thrown again, but the pain didn't wake up the unconscious Director Yan. Chapter 39 Discovery of an unknown virus. No one knew who pressed the fire alarm, but the shrill sound of the alarm echoed throughout the entire hospital, mixed with screams and roars. The entire hospital had become the world of the infected. No one had expected that the first place to fall would be the place where the dying and the wounded were rescued on weekdays. The scattered infected people attracted by the alarm also slowly approached the hospital. In the thick fog and without any signal, the unknown virus slowly eroded the survivors like a fish in water. At the school, Xiao Yao was carrying a bunch of food, and the fat guy was holding 2 boxes of pure milk. They just came out of the canteen. Xiao Yao, why did you buy so much food? It's too foggy today. If the fog doesn't disperse after school, I decided to stay in school for one night. After all, my home is quite far away and the road is not safe. Stay in school for one night. Yes, but my cell phone has no signal. I haven't contacted my parents yet. I may not stay in school. I may go home. It depends on the situation. Well, tell me whether you go home or stay in school. I'll keep you company. Okay, but don't think about my food. There was a faint scream in the distance, and it sounded like more than one. Xiao Yao, why do I hear someone shouting? I heard it too. Let's go back to the classroom first. After saying that, Xiao Yao quickened his pace to the classroom. The sound was getting closer and closer, and it sounded like there were more and more. The two quickened their pace and ran back to the classroom in less than a minute. The moment they opened the door, they scared the students in the classroom. However, they breathed a sigh of relief when they saw Xiao Yao and his friends. The two carried a bunch of food and came to their seats. At this time, there were screams coming from the thick fog outside. It seemed that something must have happened. In any case, they could only stay in the classroom for now. Although they were college students, they were still children and had not experienced much of the world. The screams coming from the thick fog sounded creepy. It was unwise to check rashly. Xiao Yao, the noise outside sounds creepy. I'm a little scared. The fat man put down the pure milk and pulled a chair closer to Xiao Yao. Stay away. We are just across the aisle. I can touch you with my hand. Why are you coming over here? Xiao Yao pushed Zhou Tao. After all, the body odor on him was a bit overwhelming. Zhou Tao pulled the stool back in dismay, but his eyes were still scanning the windows on the north and south sides, fearing that an unknown monster would crawl in through the window if he wasn't paying attention. Ah! A voice came from the back of the classroom, and the classmates turned their heads to look over. They saw Ke Zizheng, a boy who usually does physical education, looking down at his finger. He looked up and found that everyone was looking at him. It's okay, my finger accidentally bled. He put his small dagger into the hole of the table. Just now, when he was playing with a dagger, he accidentally cut his finger. At this time, the index finger of his left hand was bleeding. Ke Zizheng pressed his finger hard to prevent it from bleeding again. When he let go, he found that it was still bleeding. No, I have to go to the infirmary to bandage it. Ke Zizheng muttered and got up and walked towards the door of the classroom. An unknown virus has been discovered. The system is being upgraded. The upgrade is expected to take 12 hours. Xiao Yao was watching Ke Zizheng walking towards the classroom door. When Ke Zizheng passed by his corridor, a reminder sounded in his mind. Unknown virus. System upgrade? Is the phone infected with a virus? Xiao Yao took out his phone and found a small robot on the screen, lying on the ground, using a wrench to dismantle its stomach, as if repairing something. Xiao Yao tried it and his strength seemed to be still there. Except for the attributes, all other functions were gone. Now Xiao Yao could not check the attributes of others or items. The upgrade is expected to take 12 hours. It seems that in the next 12 hours, he will become an ordinary person again. Such an awesome mobile phone system can be infected. It really refreshed his cognition again. Squeak. Ke Zizheng, who had just walked out of the classroom door and walked a few steps, came back again. The fog was too thick, and there were faint screams in the fog. A gym student who practiced sports every day was a little scared at this time. It was just a little skin broken on his finger. Ke Zizheng didn't want to go to the infirmary in the thick fog. The infirmary was at the school gate. It usually took 5 minutes to walk there. Now he didn't know if he could find the direction. Huh? Seeing Ke Zizheng's face gloomy and lowering his head to the back of the classroom, Xiao Yao frowned. A small cut on his finger. Is it necessary to bandage it? This is too hypocritical. Aren't you afraid that you will get a scar if you go too late? Ke Zizheng, who came back, lay on the desk at the end of the classroom. He looked a little tired. No other students asked him. After all, gym students usually give people a sense of déjà vu of campus hooligans, so few people are willing to be friends with gym students. Knock, knock, knock. There was another rapid knock on the door. Xiao Yao looked over. Through the glass, Xiao Yao could tell at a glance that it was Xiaozin from class 5 next door. Xiao Yao stood up and walked to the door of the classroom. What's wrong? Brother Xiao Yao, I'm scared. I'll come to your classroom. Xiaozin frowned, obviously frightened by the unknown voice. Xiao Yao glanced outside, then glanced at the classroom. Forget it, let her come in, come in. Xiao Yao led Xiaozin to a seat and glanced at his deskmate Xiaomo. At this time, Xiaomo didn't see anything in her eyes. Xiao Yao patted the fat boy Zhou Tao on the shoulder. I'll change seats with you, you sit in my seat. Fatty Zhou Tao's deskmate didn't come, so the fat boy was alone today. He exchanged a seat with him just in time to sit with Xiaozin. Xiao Yao couldn't say anything to let Xiaomo change to Zhou Tao's deskmate. Besides, would she agree? No problem, it's my honor to give up my place to my sister-in-law. Zhou Tao flattered her and sat directly in Xiao Yao's seat. Hey, Xiaomo, please take care of me. Xiaomo didn't say anything, and Zhou Tao responded with a roll of her eyes. Hey, Zhou Tao didn't feel embarrassed, but touched the back of his head. Xiaozin, you can sit here, his deskmate didn't come today. Okay, brother Xiao Yao. Xiaozin sat on the left obediently, tidied up the books on the table and put them in the hole of the table. Green tea bitch. Xiaomo muttered in a low voice when she heard Xiaozin calling Xiao Yao brother. and goosebumps all over her body. This voice is too coquettish, and she can say it herself, but with so many people around, you make people feel very uncomfortable and feel very pretentious. Hungry. A voice, although low, but making Xiao Yao shudder, came from the back of the classroom. Others just glanced at Zhang lying on the table and stopped looking at him. Whether you are hungry or not is none of our business. Only Xiao Yao stared at Zhang lying on the table. What's wrong, Xiao Yao? Zhou Tao found that something was wrong with Xiao Yao, because Xiao Yao's eyes did not look like a joke at this time. I don't know, it doesn't feel good. Isn't this Zhang a little abnormal today? Zhou Tao turned around and looked in the direction of Zhang. Indeed, he is usually the most noisy. Why is he so honest today, sleeping on the desk? Xiao Yao picked up the mop beside him. His palms were a little sweaty, and he couldn't help but tighten his fingers. Chapter 40 Bronze vs. King. Hungry. A faint sound came from the corner of Zhang's mouth. The classmates in the classroom were playing, doing homework, or chatting. Few people paid attention to the sound coming from Zhang's mouth at this time. Xiao Yao and the fat man Zhou Tao were looking at Zhang. Zhou Tao still had a puzzled expression, but Xiao Yao suddenly became nervous and his eyes widened. He seemed to have heard the abnormal sound made by Zhang just now, and his left hand suddenly grabbed the fat man's right hand involuntarily. Fuck. Zhou Tao suddenly said loudly, fuck, which scared Xiao Yao. Fatty, what are you doing? You scared me. Xiao Yao was almost scared to death by the fat man's sudden shout. You scared me, okay? Why did you suddenly grab my hand? You almost scared me to death. Don't you know that scaring others is scary? I treat you as a brother, but you want to have sex with me? This is not okay. I am a man, and I like women, not men. Let go. Zhou Tao said, and with a look of disgust, he pushed Xiao Yao's left hand away, and moved the stool to the north, a little further away from Xiao Yao, with a hint of disgust on his face. When Xiamo saw Zhou Tao moving the stool to the north, almost moving it on her nose wrinkled slightly, and she didn't say anything, but just looked at Xiao Yao with a smile. However, when her eyes saw Xiaozhen on Xiao Yao's side, the smile on her face slowly disappeared. He had a girlfriend. Thinking of this, Xiamo lowered her head and started a new round of review plan, turning sadness into strength, turning strength into knowledge, and never touching love again. Xiao Yao's mouth twitched, and the nervous mood just now was instantly dissipated by Zhou Tao's fuss. I like men? Don't be ridiculous. I have a girlfriend. Besides, even if I like men, I won't like a tank like you with a fat waist in a mountain of fat. Xiao Yao pulled Xiaozhen's arm and showed off to Zhou Tao. Brother Xiao Yao, you won't. At this time, Xiaozhen on the right also pulled Xiao Yao's arm, with questions in her eyes. If you keep talking nonsense, I will punish you with family rules. Xiao Yao could see the gloating look in Xiaozhen's eyes, and he could hardly hold back his smile. Well, who can't see that? He scratched Xiaozhen's nose with his hand, looking very serious and fierce. The classmates around him looked at Xiao Yao and Zhou Tao being funny, and laughed. When they saw Xiao Yao scratch Xiaozhen's nose, they sighed again. Xiao Yao is really popular with both men and women. Yes, he's not picky. That's right, even if he likes men, he can't treat them equally, right? Is Xiao Yao a bottom? What are you talking about? What do you mean by not picky? Don't think I can't hear it, take my punch. The fat man was unhappy when he heard this. He was not a fool. This was a disguised way of squeezing him, and then he fought with the two skinny guys next door. The other classmates were even happier. They fought, but they were just playing around, so no one stopped them. They were all just looking for trouble, and some even shouted come on. Xiao Yao ignored them. Although he was no longer nervous after the fight just now, Xiao Yao's physique had been upgraded several times, and his hearing was higher than that of ordinary people. Xiao Yao was sure that he definitely heard the sound made by Zhang just now. But, strangely, Zhang suddenly stopped making any sound at this time. Xiao Yao couldn't be sure for a while whether there was something wrong with Zhang. Thinking of this, Xiao Yao stood up and slowly walked to the back of the classroom, thinking about some information about Zhang in his mind. Zhang was a sports student. Generally, there would be a few students practicing sports in each class, and Zhang practiced 400-meter and 800-meter sprints. They came to school earlier than the cultural students every morning because they had to train early. So, Every day, they were the earliest to come and even the latest to leave school. Of course, in class, they didn't study most of the time. Xiao Yao walked very cautiously. Although he already had a physique comparable to that of an adult, don't forget that the physique of a sports student is close to that of an adult, and even better than that of an ordinary adult. So, Xiao Yao was unsure at the moment whether he could beat Ke Zizhen. The reason he wanted to go over to take a look was because the detection range of the detection glasses was only 1 meter. To see Ke Zizhen's information, Xiao Yao could only take a risk. As they got closer, there was still no information from Ke Zizhen. Xiao Yao had no choice but to move closer. At this time, Xiao Yao was sure that he was within 1 meter, but why couldn't he see the information above Ke Zizhen's head? Xiao Yao turned his head and looked at the top of the head of the person next to him, and found that there was no information either. Suddenly, he remembered something. Xiao Yao took out his mobile phone, and saw a robot lying on the screen. The phone was being upgraded, and he couldn't use the reconnaissance skill at all. In a hurry, he actually forgot about this problem. There were still 12 hours to upgrade successfully, which meant he had to wait until tomorrow morning. He couldn't check Ke Zizhen's information, and Xiao Yao couldn't let it go. It was like a big stone hanging in his heart. Xiao Yao bit his lip and fought. His attributes should be similar to Ke Zizhen's. Even if he couldn't beat him, he could still run away. Thinking of this, Xiao Yao made up his mind, stretched out his hand, and slowly patted Ke Zizhen's arm. At this time, several classmates saw Xiao Yao being so cautious and looked at what Xiao Yao was going to do. After all, the sports students would mingle with the culture students except during sports events. Usually, the sports students and culture students were in 2 different circles and had no communication. Xiao Yao looked behind him and saw Xiaozin, Zhou Tao, Xiamo and several other people looking at him. Most of the people didn't care about this place, but were studying, chatting and playing. Hi. Xiao Yao turned around and patted Ke Zizhen's arm gently. Classmate, are you okay? Xiao Yao patted Ke Zizhen's arm again. Swish. Just when Xiao Yao wanted to pat Ke Zizhen's arm again, Ke Zizhen, who was lowering his head, suddenly grabbed Xiao Yao's arm. Hiss. Xiao Yao felt like his arm was grabbed by a pair of pliers, and felt that Ke Zizhen's strength was so strong that it felt like he was crushing his arm. He pulled hard but couldn't shake it at all. He had a bad feeling in his heart. Classmate, let go, it hurts. Let go quickly. Xiao Yao's shouting also alarmed other classmates. More classmates turned their heads to look here. Zhou Tao also ran over. Several other classmates also gathered around. They might not have come to help, but more to watch the fun. Going against the sports student? No, more trouble is worse than less trouble is worse than no trouble, but it's lively, the more people can be watched, and there will be more good show to watch, this is what they think. Xiaozin also ran over and saw that Xiao Yao, who was fighting 1 against 3, was now being pinched by someone and couldn't resist. What happened to brother Xiao Yao? Could it be that this sports student can fight better than brother Xiao Yao? Let go of brother Xiao Yao, Xiaozin said to Ke Zizhen, who was still lowering his head. Even if brother Xiao Yao was not as good at fighting as this big guy, she had already decided that brother Xiao Yao was her boyfriend and couldn't let others bully him. You, go back quickly. Xiao Yao saw Xiaozin speaking for him, and turned back to look at Xiaozin with difficulty. The pain in his arm had made Xiao Yao sweat profusely. If he had only been in love with Xiaozin for fun at the beginning, then at this moment, Xiao Yao was sure that Xiaozin had already lived in his heart. If Xiao Yao's reconnaissance skills could see Ke Zizhen's information, he would be shocked at this moment. Unknown virus infected person level 10, combat power 78, health 400/400. Ke Zizhen is already an infected person, and what's more terrifying is that Ke Zizhen's combat power is 78, while Xiao Yao's combat power is only 23. Xiao Yao's attributes are already better than those of ordinary adults, so he has never upgraded. But don't forget, this is mainly about intelligence. Ke Zizhen is a sports student. If they really fight, Xiao Yao will definitely not be able to beat a sports student with the same combat power. What's more, Ke Zizhen's combat power is already 78 at this time. It's overestimating himself to use an egg to hide a rock. This is a duel between a bronze and a king. Sadly, Xiao Yao is the bronze. A level 5 bronze mage with no skills and a level 10 king melee attack? Chapter 41. The protagonist dies. Crack. Ah. A heart-wrenching scream came from the classroom. A lame infected person on the playground turned his head and staggered in the direction of the scream. In the thick fog, a few infected people also slowly gathered in the direction of the sound. The one who screamed was Xiao Yao, whose arm was pinched by Zhen. At this time, Xiao Yao's arm was reversed at 90 degrees. At the broken arm, blood flowed down his clothes and dripped onto the desk. The bright red color stimulated the nerves of the people around. Ah! 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 The classmates around had never seen such a scene before. They ran away in fear. What's more, they were so scared that they collapsed on the stool. Xiaozin and several girls were so scared that they collapsed on the ground. Zhen. Is this crazy? Xiao Yao. How are you? Zhou Tao was also confused. He had never seen such a scene before. He also wanted to run away, but his legs were no longer under his control. He looked at Xiao Yao tremblingly. Xiao Yao's arm was so painful that he lost consciousness. Regardless of whether Zhen had a problem or not, he could not sit still and wait for death in this situation. He gritted his teeth, swung the mop in his hand and smashed it down on Zhen's head. Bang! There was a dull sound, but it didn't work. Xiao Yao smashed it down again and again, once, twice. When he smashed it again, Zhen grabbed the mop with his other hand in an instant. Xiao Yao felt that the mop was like being stuck in the wall, and it was impossible to move it. He couldn't beat him or run away. Xiao Yao knew that this time it was over. Zhen's head finally moved. Zhen slowly raised his head, revealing his distorted face, his white eyeballs, mixed with bloodshot, and a trace of blood and tears flowing from the corners of his eyes. He pulled Xiao Yao's arm, which was already in his hand, and bit it down, tearing off a piece of flesh and blood. His mouth was stained with blood, and he chewed it slowly like a beast. Ah! Xiao Yao, who was already sweating profusely from the pain, felt as if his bones were being scraped. He really wanted to faint, but the pain made him sober again. Ah! Run! Someone shouted, and the students, who had already been like frightened birds, ran towards the classroom door in an instant without knowing where they got the strength. What is this? A zombie? Oh no, Zhen has become a zombie and has lost his mind. Xiaozin. Zhou Tao, run, go to the next class, lock the door, don't come over. Xiao Yao gritted his teeth and said to Zhou Tao and the others. At this time, all he could do was to let Xiaozin, Zhou Tao and the others leave here. Letting them help him would be like a moth flying into a flame. His 23 combat power was killed instantly, and letting them come up would be a drop in the bucket. Looking at Xiaozin, who was now slumped on the ground, she had already cried into tears. Her makeup had been washed away by her tears, and she had cried into a big clown face. Xiao Yao tried to squeeze out a smile. Xiaozin, go away, don't worry about me. A bitter smile flashed across Xiao Yao's mouth. Poor me, I just got a girlfriend, and I'm going to get a box lunch. Poor me, I just got a mobile phone system, and I'm going to die before I can accomplish my mission? Shouldn't I be the protagonist? Why did I die so early? Xiao Yao. Zhou Tao didn't know what to do at this time. He didn't want to leave Xiao Yao here alone, but it seemed that he had no way. Brother Xiao Yao. Xiaozin had recovered a lot from the shock just now. Let's go to the next class to ask for help. Run, don't worry about me, no matter how many of you come, we are no match for him, don't come back. But Zhou Tao wanted to say something. Hurry up, don't dawdle. Xiao Yao interrupted what Zhou Tao wanted to say. Please take good care of Xiaozin for me, hurry up. Zhou Tao helped Xiaozin up and walked out of the classroom. After passing through the classroom door that had been squeezed open long ago, Xiaozin looked back at Xiao Yao reluctantly and was pulled away by Zhou Tao. Xiao Yao looked at the already messy classroom. It was empty except for the sound of KZ chewing his arm next to him and the sound of the chaos in the next class. A bunch of idiots, making such loud noises. Are you afraid that the zombies can't hear you? Ugh. When the pain reached a certain level, it seemed to be less painful. Xiao Yao used his only left hand to take out his mobile phone. On the screen, there was a robot lying down, still working hard to repair his stomach. The amazing mobile phone system was played by him like this. There must be something wrong. The appearance of the mobile phone system should not be accidental. He should have known it from the beginning. It is inevitable. There must be a destiny. The appearance of the mobile phone system must be for some reason. It cannot be as simple as giving himself a portable storage space. Maybe he is the savior, But this savior seems to be too weak. He was killed instantly by the first opponent he met. Looking at Ke Zizhen, who was chewing his arm with blood all over his face, that's right, it was all his blood. Xiao Yao felt powerless. He didn't believe in evil, so he picked up the stool next to him and smashed it hard at Ke Zizhen. If he wanted to live, who wouldn't want to live? 1, 2, this is a meat shield, but it's a pity that he couldn't break the opponent's defense at all. Hiss. Another piece of flesh was torn off, and Xiao Yao, who was already numb, felt the pain tear his nerves again and spread to his brain. No, I want to escape, even if I have to give up this arm. I can't lose my life. Xiao Yao pulled back hard, and the pain of his arm tearing didn't make him give up, but he couldn't pull his arm apart just like that. Ke Zizhen, with an expressionless face, just grabbed Xiao Yao's arm so easily, as if he didn't care about Xiao Yao's struggle at all. As if he understood Xiao Yao's heart, Ke Zizhen stretched out his hands and tore off Xiao Yao's arm directly. Xiao Yao, whose face was as pale as paper, didn't dare to stay for a moment, and mustered up the remaining strength in his body to run out of the classroom. Even though I lost my right hand, at least I was still alive. I wanted to live, I wanted to live. Xiao Yao ran out of the classroom like crazy. Puff. A voice came from Xiao Yao's mind. The world seemed to be frozen, and Xiao Yao was also frozen. The classroom door was close at hand, but he seemed unable to move. Xiao Yao wanted to stretch out his only left hand to hold the door frame, but the strength was draining away. It seemed that he couldn't even raise his arm. He was so tired, so tired. Why were his eyelids so heavy? Hiss. Why did he feel a little pain? Xiao Yao slowly lowered his head. There was a hand on his chest, and there was a beating heart in his hand. Am I going to die? It turned out that this zombie was so strong that even escaping has become a luxury. Wick, chicken. Behind Xiao Yao, Ke Zizhen, with white eyes and blood on his face, had no pity for Xiao Yao. Puff. Retracting his arm, Ke Zizhen looked at the beating heart in his hand, and a strange smile appeared on his face. He opened his mouth, and the corners of his mouth cracked, revealing bloody teeth. The teeth were in rows, like shark teeth, and the cracked corners of his mouth were about to crack to the roots of his ears. Then he stuffed the beating heart into his mouth, swallowed it in one gulp, and burped. Puff. Xiao Yao fell to the ground, and his consciousness gradually dissipated. The last scene in his eyes was Ke Zizhen stepping over his body and walking out of the classroom, heading towards the next class. Everything was over. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42, Xiao Yang, Phil. The next day, at dawn, under the deep night sky, the thick fog still did not dissipate. Through the thick fog, many figures could be seen swaying, stumbling, and stumbling back and forth, occasionally emitting a low roar like a beast. Suddenly, a face lay on the glass, a face that could no longer be seen clearly, with dark red blood all over its face. Even this person had only half of his face left, and could only be distinguished from the fluffy yellow-brown hair. This should be a woman. If Xiao Yao was still alive, he would definitely recognize her. This person was Xiaozin. She stared fiercely at the window with her pale eyes, and her cracked lips babbled, as if telling an unknown secret. It was nearly 12 hours since the system started to upgrade. After Xiao Yao died, Ke Zizhen rushed to the next door. Classroom. How could an ordinary glass block such a high-powered infected person? The students in the whole class were bitten not long after. The students who were bitten became infected people like Ke Zizhen after a short while and joined the hunting team. They eliminated one class and moved on to the next. This was destined to be a sleepless night. The whole school was filled with screams, shouts and cries. In the early hours of the morning, the noise gradually subsided. The school had fallen. All were infected by the unknown virus, or were infected after being bitten by the infected people who were infected with the unknown virus. Some of them had no vitality and didn't even have the chance to be infected. Like Xiao Yao, they stopped breathing forever. There was no survivor in the whole school. There was no rescue, no savior. This place became a paradise for the infected. Xiao Yao, who owns the cell phone system, should have been the protagonist. According to the plot, He should have stepped on the infected one by one, rose to the top, and became a great hero admired by the world. However, he did not do that. He sacrificed himself on the first day of the doomsday. He was just an insignificant member of the vast sea of people. Everyone hoped that they would be the survivor when the doomsday came, and some even wanted to be the savior. However, it turned out that at the moment of the doomsday, they became the first humans to be infected. The cell phone system was an accident, and the doomsday was also an accident. Maybe God gave him too little time to grow, so that he had to accept such a heavy task before he grew up. Which will come first, tomorrow or the accident, who knows? At the edge of the thick fog, a figure stumbled out and kicked a coconut on the road. The crisp sound was extremely obvious at dawn. The searchlights that were sweeping regularly not far ahead also instantly focused on the place where the sound came from, on this stumbling figure. Behind the roadblock, the machine gunner's palms were sweating as he held the gun handle. His superiors had issued an order that anyone who walked out of the thick fog would be shot if they could not be persuaded to return. Obeying orders was his duty, but he had never thought that one day, the hands that defended his country would be used to point the machine gun at his compatriots and his fellow countrymen. The machine gunner's eyes widened, and even tears flowed down his eyes. Please, go back quickly, go back quickly. The machine gunner could only pray in his heart that the person coming could be persuaded to return and not force his way through the checkpoint. If the other party wanted to break through the checkpoint, the machine gunner didn't know whether he should shoot or not. 106 calling 101. 106 calling 101. 101 received, please speak. An unknown person was found breaking in front, wearing a military uniform. Received. The sniper found from the scope that the person coming was wearing a military uniform, perhaps from a brother unit, so he reported the situation to the squad leader. The curtain of the temporary tent on the roadside was lifted, and a short soldier ran out. It was their squad leader Wang. His eyes were bloodshot and surrounded by big dark circles. He hadn't slept all night. He had just entered the tent and rested for less than 10 minutes when he heard his teammates discover something unusual. It's the snow leopard commando. Go save him. Putting down the binoculars, squad leader Wang said to the soldiers next to him, and then he ran towards the person. When the soldiers next to him heard that it was the snow leopard commando, they also ran over. The person was a member of the snow leopard commando. The snow leopard commando was a special force of their army. Squad leader Wang only took a glance at the other person's clothes to know that he was a member of the snow leopard commando, because joining the snow leopard commando was his dream, so he would not mistake the equipment. Hello, comrade, I am from the 9527th unit of the Chinese Armed Police. Is there anything we can help you with? Squad leader Wang was the first to run over and support the exhausted Special Forces soldier. Later, one of the soldiers who ran over put his other hand on himself, and the squad leader and the other two helped him walk back. Quick, report to the leader. Xiao Yao has fallen, increase support, you must hold on. The man fainted after saying these words with great effort. If it weren't for his belief, he would have fallen down long ago and would never have walked out of the thick fog. Squad leader Wang and his teammates helped the man into the tent. Communicator. Here. Report to the leader immediately. Xiao Yao has fallen. Request for more support. Yes. The communicator began to send a telegram to his superiors using his own communication equipment. Squad leader Wang looked at the unconscious soldier lying on the bed. He saw that his clothes were torn and his face was covered with blood. The unconscious soldier also had a few veins on his forehead. Squad leader Wang didn't know how many members of the Snow Leopard Commando were sent into the thick fog by their superiors, but only this one person came back. What kind of battle did they go through? What happened in the thick fog? None of them knew. The order they received was to stay at the edge of the thick fog and not allow anyone to go over. Everything could only be known after the soldier woke up. They have already notified the rear that there are wounded here. After a while, an ambulance drove to the side of the tent and took away the unconscious soldier. It was already daybreak, and the sun's rays shone on this temporary sentry post. Squad leader Wang looked at the thick fog in front of him, and his heart became more and more uneasy. He had never seen such thick fog before. This thick fog actually had a clear boundary line. The sun was shining here, but the thick fog not far away was like a cotton candy, covering a city. Those who entered it never came out again. The person he saw today was the only one who came out. This thick fog was too weird. He was never afraid of ghosts, but he was afraid of the thick fog in front of him. In the thick fog, A mechanical synthesized voice suddenly appeared in the empty classroom. Beep, the system upgrade is complete. Restarting beep, startup complete. Ding, the host is detected to be dead. Ling. Chapter 43 Rebirth. Xiao Yao. Xiao Yao. A call seemed to be gradually transmitted from the horizon to my ears. It was a woman's voice, a voice of concern and urgency. Was she calling me? I felt my body being shaken vigorously by a pair of hands, but I had no power to resist. Gently, gently, I am about to fall apart. I really wanted to open my eyes to see who was shaking me, to say something, to move my fingers, but why? Exclamation mark. Why can't I do anything except thinking? Even the most basic thing of opening my eyelids is so difficult, and I can't even move my fingers. It feels like the feeling of sleep paralysis before. Is it sleep paralysis again? Exclamation mark. Suddenly, it was like tens of thousands of needles piercing into the head, like a fighter jet flying low over the ear. Suddenly, a sharp pain spread throughout the body, and finally concentrated in the brain. The young man lying on the bed really wanted to faint from the pain, but the pain of the needles prevented him from fainting. Beads of sweat oozed from his forehead and rolled down. His clothes were also soaked with sweat, just like a drowning young man who had just been pulled out of the water. The young man wanted to grit his teeth to relieve the pain, but this body seemed not to be his own and he could not control it at all. Xiao Yao, wake up quickly, don't scare your mother, what's wrong with you, wake up quickly. The woman, who was already tearful, was still shaking the young man. If she hadn't tried to make the young man breathe normally, she would have collapsed long ago. What's going on? As the voice ended, a middle-aged man ran in. He was about 1.6 meters tall, with short flat hair, wearing a security uniform, and his tightly furrowed eyebrows revealed his concern and anxiety. I cooked in the morning and called Xiao Yao to eat. After calling for a long time, there was no response, so I came to check. Then I saw that our son had not woken up. No matter how I called him, he would not wake up. If he was not still breathing, I was really afraid that Xiao Yao would. If that was the case, I would not live. The middle-aged woman said and threw herself into the arms of the middle-aged man. His not-so-tall body was the biggest support for the middle-aged woman at this time. Don't panic, call 120 for emergency first, and send Xiao Yao to the hospital as soon as possible. The middle-aged man patted the middle-aged woman's back, signaling the middle-aged woman not to panic, and then sat on the young man's bedside and tried his breathing with his hand under his nose. He is breathing, but a little hurried. He is sweating all over. It feels like he is having a nightmare. It seems so, but even if he is dreaming, how can he not wake up no matter how I call him? I'll call 120 for emergency first, you watch here first. The middle-aged man left the room, took out his mobile phone and called 120 for emergency. With a terrible scream, the young man lying on the bed sat up suddenly. The middle-aged woman who was looking at him was startled and her breath was choked. The young man suddenly sat up, just like a corpse. Anyone would be scared. In a breath, the middle-aged woman cried with joy, "Son, you woke up, you scared your mother to death, let me see, are you okay, do you feel uncomfortable?" The middle-aged woman touched the young man's face and body, fearing that the young man who sat up was uncomfortable. The young man slowly scanned the surroundings, white roof, white walls, warm sunlight from the window, covering the entire quilt, and a large red quilt with peony flowers on his body, which was unusually warm and comfortable. This is my bed. The sight moved again to the middle-aged woman next to him who was anxiously concerned about himself. This is my mother. Mom, it's okay, I just had a nightmare and made you worried. The young man tried to comfort the middle-aged woman next to him. Silly child, it's okay, it's okay. You scared your mother to death. How do you feel? If you don't feel well today, don't go to school. Rest at home for a day. Breakfast has been prepared a long time ago and should be cold now. I'll go heat it up and bring it to you later. My dear son, you should have a rest first. The middle-aged woman said, and went out. Dad, my son is okay. He just had a nightmare. Call 120 for emergency help. Don't let them come. He's okay. There's no need to go to the hospital. Don't let people make a wasted trip. My son is okay? I just finished the call. I'll call 120 for emergency help and tell them not to come. After speaking, The middle-aged man redialed the phone he had just hung up and explained the situation. After the call, he ran into the house. Seeing that the child was okay, he breathed a sigh of relief. You make people worry all day long. You have a nightmare and make the whole family worry. Get up and eat. He slapped the young man on the back of the head, then rubbed his head hard and told him to get up and eat. Is this the difference between fatherly and motherly love? When the father saw that his son was fine, he felt that he was not his own son. My thoughts gradually became clear. I am Xiao Yao, Zhejiang University of Technology, Computer Department, Class 6, Grade 14, 19 years old. Not long ago, I accidentally got a mobile phone system, which can kill monsters and upgrade, and store items. The good times did not last long. Not long after, I was killed by my classmate K Zhejiang, who might be a zombie. The last thing I saw was that K Zhejiang scratched through my back and took my heart. The middle-aged woman and middle-aged man just now are my parents. But, in my memory, am I dead? Xiao Yao touched his chest. Plop, plop, it was the sound of his heart beating, and his heart was still there. So, what happened to the memory? Am I reborn? Or was it just a nightmare, just longer? Mobile phone. Oh, where's the mobile phone? Xiao Yao fumbled for a while and finally found his Huami mobile phone under the pillow. Beep, the host has awakened, identity verification is in progress. Zizzy. A burst of blue light came from the front camera of the phone, scanning Xiao Yao's whole body. Beep, identity verification is successful. At this time, the phone screen switched, and the phone desktop appeared. What came into view was a three-dimensional image of Xiao Yao. Xiao Yao opened his mouth wide, but did not make any sound. This three-dimensional image was so familiar, exactly the same as in his memory. Xiao Yao's eyes were wide open at this time. This is not a dream. On the left is Xiao Yao's personal information. Xiao Yao, level 1 combat power, 10 life, 100/100 hunger, 10/100 strength, 1 agility, 1 intelligence, 8 experience, 0/10 inches. Xiao Yao couldn't wait to click on the Big Dipper icon next to it. Personal skills: elementary school, completed, ordinary, +3 intelligence. Junior high school, completed, ordinary, +2 intelligence. High school, completed, ordinary, +2 intelligence. University, in progress, ordinary, +0 intelligence. The personal information and skills are all there, consistent with his memory, but there are some minor discrepancies. Xiao Yao hurriedly clicked on the small box again, only to see that the familiar storage space appeared again, with 4 items attached: mineral water, bottle, quantity 999, drinking water. Mineral water, bag, quantity 378, drinking water. Soul locking orb, slowly absorbs the vitality of living creatures within 1 meter around. Level 20 swallowing can absorb all the vitality of the soul locking orb. Swallowing below level 20 will be backfired, and the vitality will be instantly drained by the soul locking orb. Current vitality 5/10000. Body tempering technique. Practice can enhance physical fitness. If it is fully refined, one will have an indestructible body. The level requirement is 10. Money 23,223 inches. Xiao Yao looked at the mineral water in his hand. It was cold. This was real. The memory was real. That is, this was not a dream, and everything in the phone was there, but the question was, why did he become level 1? Phoenix pendant. Reconnaissance glasses. They are all gone. What power allowed him to be reborn? And for what? Chapter 44, Meet the old lady who scammed me again. Xiao Yao, the food is ready, come and eat it while it's hot. Before anyone arrived, a middle-aged woman's voice came from outside the house, and then a middle-aged woman in an apron came in with some food. Mom, no need to bring it over, I'll go over and eat it right away. How can I eat in bed? Xiao Yao saw his mother bringing the food over, and retracted his thoughts. Mom, you take the food to the kitchen, I'll get up and go over to eat it. Okay, then you get up, I'll put the food on the dining table, remember to wash your hands first. The middle-aged woman looked at Xiao Yao lovingly, then turned and walked towards the kitchen. Xiao Yao got up, put on his clothes, went to the yard to wash up, sat at the dining table, and started to eat breakfast. While eating a bowl of millet porridge, a fried egg, a glass of milk and a slice of bread, Xiao Yao suddenly remembered and asked, Mom, what day is today? Today is December 2nd, Monday. Monday. If my memory serves me correctly, I was killed in the evening of December 5th, which means there are still 3 days before the abnormality appears in the world. I still have 3 days to prepare. Xiao Yao lowered his head and ate slowly. After thinking for a while, Xiao Yao decided to remind his mother, "Mom, don't go to work these days. I saw on the internet that there is a serious flu in the United States. More than 1 million people have been infected, and the death toll caused by the flu has exceeded 20,000. In the past few days, we in China have also had many patients with colds and coughs. Winter itself is the outbreak period of flu. For safety, Mom, don't go to work before the new year. Okay, you should eat quickly. There's not much work in the factory these days. I will tidy up and clean up at home and prepare some food for the new year." The middle-aged woman watched Xiao Yao eat and agreed with a smile. "Xiao Yao." A boy's voice came from outside. "Hey, Zhou Tao called me. Mom, I'm leaving first. Remember what I said, don't go to work these days, just stay at home. Also, Mom, buy more food, fruits, vegetables and so on, prepare for 1 or 2 months, so that you don't have to go out to buy them after you finish eating. It's almost the next year of Jings, and the weather will get warmer, and there should be no flu." Xiao Yao didn't know how long to talk, but according to previous epidemic experience, generally the weather will get warmer next year, and the flu will end. Okay, in the afternoon, I'll go buy it, go to class quickly." The middle-aged woman waved to Xiao Yao and began to clean up the dishes. Pushing the electric car out of the door, Xiao Yao was stunned for a while, only to see a young man about 1.8 meters tall at the door, with a side bangs, and a few strands of hair covering half of his face. At the moment when the bangs covered his eyelids, the young man pouted his lower lip and blew a breath, blowing up the bangs covering his face, with an unusually coquettish posture. "Zhou Tao." Xiao Yao stuttered a little. How come the fat Zhou Tao in his memory is so handsome and coquettish now? Nonsense, it's not me. Who is it? It's so hard for you to eat. I have to wait for you for a long time every time. If you are so slow, I won't wait for you in the future. Zhou Tao complained a few words and stepped on the electric bike to go ahead. Fuck, how can the fat guy be so tall and handsome? With my height of 1.75 meters, I feel that the other party is a bit tall and a bit oppressive. Xiao Yao was stunned and hadn't reacted yet. "Fatty, hurry up, are you going to class?" Zhou Tao turned around and shouted at Xiao Yao. "Zhou Tao, are you blind for calling yourself a fat guy? Wait." Xiao Yao suddenly looked down at his hands holding the handlebars of the electric bike. It felt like a Michelin tire. Looking at his legs again, a round bulge blocked his sight. Me. I couldn't even see my feet when I looked down. Xiao Yao pinched his face with his hands in fear, and felt a soft and comfortable feeling. I'm actually a fat man, so fat that I can look like Wang Sicken. Xiao Yao didn't come back to his senses for a long time. Fatty? Fatty. Zhou Tao shook Xiao Yao. Oh. Zhou Tao, were you this tall and thin before? You're crazy. I've been like this since my freshman year. I suddenly grew taller in my senior year. You forgot. Let's go. If you leave later, you'll be late. Then, have I always been this fat? Isn't that nonsense? You were a Mickey Mouse tire when you were a child. We grew up wearing open crotch pants. How could I not remember? Xiao Yao followed Zhou Tao on his electric bike in a daze. The amount of information was a bit too much, and his memory was biased. He needed to absorb it slowly, or he didn't know how to absorb it. We ordinary people are so happy today. Zhou Tao hummed an unknown song while riding his electric bike. The familiar scene reappeared again. Xiao Yao was really afraid that if he asked Zhou Tao, he would say that he rented a piece of land in Suzaku City in Skyrim. How terrible it would be if reality followed his memory. Xiao Yao did not ask Zhou Tao why he was so happy, and followed him silently all the way. Xiao Yao, I played all night last night and finally rented a piece of land in Suzaku City. I will give you the permission when the time comes. We will build a house, plant crops, and raise cattle and sheep together. Zhou Tao slowed down the car and drove side by side with Xiao Yao. He talked to Xiao Yao casually, showing off with a beaming face, just waiting for Xiao Yao to praise him. What was supposed to come, still came. He didn't even ask, why did Zhou Tao start talking about it himself? Okay. Xiao Yao didn't want to spoil Zhou Tao's interest. Anyway, It wouldn't be long before someone would be infected and become a biting zombie, and he probably wouldn't have the chance to play games with him. Really? Really? Great. Xiao Yao was as happy as a child, but the 1.8-meter tall boy was a little embarrassed when he acted cute. It seems that personality can't be changed. No matter you are fat or thin, you are that Xiao Yao. However, if I live again, I must live well and protect my only brother and my newly recognized girlfriend. I don't know where Xiaozin is. I seem to miss her a little. Xiao Yao completely forgot that after rebirth, Xiaozin didn't recognize him. Ouch! A loud shout came from the road in the distance, which happened to be heard by Xiao Yao and others. Xiao Yao looked in the direction of the sound and saw an old lady in the distance. At this time, she was sitting on the ground, holding her right foot with one hand and supporting the ground with the other hand. A red Audi A4L car passed by not far in front of her, but the car accelerated at this time and did not mean to stop to watch. Xiao Yao, there is an old lady who fell over there. Let's go over and help her up. It will be dangerous in the middle of the road. Xiao Yao said and was about to park the electric car on the side of the road. Wait. Xiao Yao grabbed Xiao Yao. This old lady looked so familiar. She was the old lady who had hit the car in his memory. At this time, many people were passing by, but no one helped the old lady. It seemed that they didn't see the old lady at all. Could it be that only the two of them could see the old lady? This was a bit too weird. What happened to the pedestrians around? Such a big person was sitting in the middle of the road, and no one helped her? Chapter 45, A drop of water is returned with a spring of gratitude. Ouch! At this time, the old lady was holding her right leg and groaning. It seemed that she had twisted her foot and couldn't stand up. Xiao Yao, why are you pulling me? Xiao Yao was confused. Why was Xiao Yao so abnormal today? Xiao Yao couldn't tell Xiao Yao at this time that this was an old lady who was trying to scam people. He couldn't tell Xiao Yao that he had the ability to predict the future. Because nothing happened, if he said it now, it would be slander. Moreover, Xiao Yao would think he was crazy. If he didn't stop it, it seemed that Xiao Yao would definitely go over to help the old lady who fell. What should I do? This is a bit different from the Xiao Yao in my memory who stopped me from attending class because he was afraid of being late. Originally, Xiao Yao wanted to just pretend that he didn't see it and rode over, but it seemed that it wouldn't work. By the way, last time, someone must have helped me overturn the case. Unfortunately, I didn't know who the person who helped me was until I died. After rebirth, maybe I can use this time to find the person who helped me. Although there are some deviations from my memory, it shouldn't be too different. Since I have decided to help, I must be prepared. Xiao Yao, did you bring your cell phone? Xiao Yao turned to Xiao Yao and said. I did, what's the matter? Xiao Yao was confused. Why did he ask if he brought his cell phone at this time? Oh, are you calling 120 to report the crime? I'll call the police. You do this. You can record a video for me later. I'm worried that this old lady is a scammer. Recording a video is also a safety precaution. Xiao Yao took out his cell phone and dialed 120. Fatty, I didn't expect you to be so thoughtful. Why didn't I think of it? Xiao Yao took out his cell phone. I'm ready. Go quickly. Also, Xiao Yao looked at Xiao Yao very seriously and said, no matter what happens later, unless I ask you for the video, you absolutely cannot take the initiative to come over and say that you recorded it. Do you hear me? What a mess. Okay, go quickly. We're about to start class. Xiao Yao couldn't wait to start recording. Could it be that this fat guy Xiao Yao wanted to post his good deeds online? Unexpectedly, he is still a stuffy man. Remember what I said, stay here, no matter what happens, don't come over. If I can't go to class, you push my electric bike to school. If you still recognize me as your brother, you must listen to me. Xiao Yao looked into Xiao Yao's eyes again seriously. Okay, I'll listen to you. Xiao Yao's inexplicable seriousness made Xiao Yao put away his playful expression. Start recording. Xiao Yao turned around and walked towards the old lady. His resolute back suddenly made Xiao Yao behind him feel admiration. How come he looked like he was going to the battlefield with high spirits? Xiao Yao shook his head and recorded the video for Xiao Yao seriously. At the moment when Xiao Yao walked towards the old lady, the various people walking hurriedly around seemed to come alive and became lively again. Old lady, I'll call an ambulance for you. I'll help you to wait on the side of the road. There are so many vehicles coming and going. It's not safe in the middle of the road. Oh, thank you, young man. The old lady followed Xiao Yao and limped to the side of the road and sat down. Then old lady, wait here for a moment, the ambulance will be here soon, I'm going to school first. Xiao Yao was ready to leave after helping the old lady. Hey, you can't leave, why do you want to leave after hitting someone? The old lady suddenly grabbed Xiao Yao's clothes and sat on the ground, as if she would never let Xiao Yao go. At this time, some passers-by who didn't know the truth saw that the old lady would not let him go, as if they knew the truth. Everything was just as he remembered. Even though he had parked the electric bike far away, the old lady still held him tightly. Sure enough, this old lady was a scammer, and rebirth could not change the direction of the plot. Xiao Yao looked at Zhou Tao, who was about to come over not far away, and made a look. Zhou Tao, who was about to come over, saw Xiao Yao's eyes and suddenly remembered what Xiao Yao said before he went over, that he should not go over no matter what happened. He stopped immediately, but his hand was shaking a little, for fear of missing any plot. The reason why Xiao Yao was not worried about being scammed by the old lady at this time was that he had money in his mobile phone. He was not the poor boy before. More than 20,000 yuan was enough for the old lady to scam him 20 times. So, this time, he was not afraid or panicked. He just wanted to find the person who helped him last time. No matter how many people around him accused and scolded him, Xiao Yao stood in the wind, with his head held high and his eyes scanning the surroundings. There were all kinds of people, but Xiao Yao didn't take them seriously at this time. In 2 days, I hope you can all live well. After scanning around, it seems that there is no one he wants to find. Could it be that the person who helped him is not here? Then where did he appear? He looked at the surrounding environment carefully again. There was no surveillance. Where was the person who helped him? Beep. More and more people gathered around, blocking half of the road. A red BMW honked its horn and slowly moved from north to south. What are you pressing? Are you showing off your BMW? The people around seemed to have found a new target for complaints. Although they kept complaining, they still made way for the red BMW to pass. After all, they were just bragging, but if they really wanted to cause trouble, they would have disappeared long ago. The cars behind also followed a BMW in front and slowly moved forward one by one. Because he was not as panicked and scared as last time, Xiao Yao was also attracted by the sound of the BMW's horn and looked over. It's her. That's right, it was the school beauty Yizhenru. Could it be that she helped me last time? Xiao Yao looked through the front windshield of the BMW and saw a beautiful driver in the driver's seat. It was the school beauty Yizhenru he had seen in the cafeteria. However, this time, she might not recognize him, or even know that he was her schoolmate and could drive a BMW when he was just a freshman. It seemed that the other party was also from a wealthy family. Yizhenru just glanced at Xiao Yao and continued to look at the front of the car and drove slowly past. She probably wouldn't even notice that he was her schoolmate. Xiao Yao also saw the expression on Yizhenru's face just now, which was annoyance and disgust. He didn't know whether she was annoyed by the people blocking the road or the way he looked at her just now. Make way, make way. The police are coming, the police are coming. Comrade police. At this time, some people who claimed to be witnesses told the police what happened. Hello, classmate. Please follow us to the Public Security Bureau to assist in the investigation. Don't worry, we will investigate the matter carefully. A young police officer came over and said to Xiao Yao. Xiao Yao glanced at the young police officer, who was Officer K from last time. He did not answer him, but looked at the female driver Yizhenru who was driving slowly. Sister, that little fat guy seems to be looking at you all the time. Yishin, who was sitting in the passenger seat, said to her sister Yizhenru who was driving. I saw it. Yizhenru felt a little unhappy. She was driving a BMW and would pass by some gangster-like men who whistled at her. Their lecherous eyes wanted to eat her up, so she had an instinctive rejection of all men. But why did the look in the fat boy's eyes just now make her not feel disgusted at all? In fact, she could read a little feeling, gratitude? Yes, it was an expression of gratitude. Why is this? Sister, the little fat guy was taken into the car by the police. We all saw that he was going to help the old lady who fell down. Should we go and help him? Yishin said to her sister anxiously. Don't mind your own business. Let's send you to the training ground first. If you don't go, you will be late. Yizhenru said to Yishin, stepped on the accelerator, and the red BMW drove away. Zhou Tao, please help me push the electric bike to school. I will be back soon. Xiao Yao looked at Yi Xinru, who was going away, turned around and said to Zhou Tao, I have a video here. Do you really not need me to go with you? Zhou Tao was a little anxious at this time. After all, he was the one who wanted to help the old lady, but Xiao Yao was taken to the police station. He felt uneasy. How can I tell the counselor? Just ask for leave for me first, and tell me a reason. Okay, then come back soon, and call me if you have anything. Got it. By the way, send me the video just now on WeChat. Xiao Yao almost forgot to ask Zhou Tao for the video before leaving. After getting on the police car, Zhou Tao watched the police car go away with the sirens and lights flashing, and turned around to push Xiao Yao's electric bike to school. Xiao Yao was in the police car. He took out his cell phone and saw that the video had been sent to him. He felt a little relieved. He would not show the video until the end, because he had only one purpose in going to the police station, to find the person who helped him. If the person who helped him showed up, plus the last time, then he would have helped him twice. A drop of water should be repaid with a spring. If the end of the world comes, I will do my best to protect him, her, for the rest of his life. Will it be you? Yi Xinru. Chapter 46. See you again. In the interrogation room of Zhaoyang City Police Station. Name: Xiao Yao. Age: 19. Comrade Police, I hereby declare that I was wronged. Xiao Yao, who was sitting on the chair, was unusually calm at this time. He did not take this matter seriously at all. After all, he was no longer concerned about being wronged after living a new life. Apart from life and death, everything else was trivial, wasn't it? I'm sorry, we investigated the area nearby. Because it is not an intersection, there is no surveillance nearby, and there are many witnesses who can prove that you hit the old lady. If you don't have other evidence, we will close the case. Don't worry, this matter is not a big deal. You just need to compensate the victim for some medical expenses and mental damages. The specific amount is still to be verified and determined by the Judicial Department. Xiao Yao did not refute anything. When he saw the face of this police officer K, he felt an instinctive disgust in his heart. If there is no evidence, you'd better hurry up and take the money and hand it over to close the case. Xiao Yao left the office and sat in the rest area. This time he did not go home or go to school. At this time, he was waiting for someone who might appear. After sitting for a while, Xiao Yao found that something seemed to be missing. Xiao Yao took out his mobile phone. Oh, why did the previous task system disappear? Why were there no tasks issued? Neither the main task nor the side task? Looking at the mineral water in his hand, if he could not extract mineral water from the mobile phone, Xiao Yao would have thought that the mobile phone had returned to its original state. Without the task, how could he get the reconnaissance glasses? Does it mean that he must save the items in the mobile phone to check the properties in the future? Wouldn't it mean that he couldn't see the combat power of people? Ling. A WeChat message came. Xiao Yao clicked on the WeChat message and saw that it was sent by Zhou Tao. Xiao Yao, how is the situation over there? It's okay, I've taken care of it. I have something else to do in the afternoon, so I may not be able to go to school. You can just leave the electric bike in the parking shed, and I'll take a taxi to school tomorrow. Okay, I've asked for leave from the counselor, and the counselor said she understands. Okay, you go to class, I have something else to do, so let's not talk for now. Okay. Xiao Yao put down his phone and looked outside the door. The sunlight came in through the glass, and the sunlight reflected from the ground reflected on the roof, making the entire hall brighter. The person I was waiting for hasn't come yet. Could it be that because I changed the itinerary this time, the person who was supposed to come didn't come? Xiao Yao looked at the time. It was already 11:50. Xiao Yao got up and walked out of the house. The compensation had not been paid yet, and the police also gave a grace period of 3 days. Although it was only 1,000 yuan, Xiao Yao didn't want to be a sucker. If everything was still the same after 3 days, and the people who were supposed to appear didn't show up, and the mutation didn't happen, Xiao Yao didn't mind coming back to close the case. At that time, as long as he took out the video, he believed that everything would be revealed. But now, he couldn't take out the video. I can't wait any longer. There are still 2.5 days before the mutation. Xiao Yao walked out of the police station. There were still 2.5 days left. He didn't have much time to waste. He had to speed up the upgrade in these 2.5 days. He had to learn the bodybuilding technique first. Thinking about the despair and powerlessness he faced K's hang last time, Xiao Yao clenched his fists. The desire for power in his heart had never been so strong as it was at this moment. Taxi. Xiao Yao walked out of the police station and waved to stop a taxi. Sitting in the car, Xiao Yao glanced at the archway of the Zhejiang City Police Station. Perhaps because he had changed the trajectory of his actions this time, the people who were supposed to appear did not appear. He remembered that last time, he went home first, then went to the market, and also went to the Difu restaurant where Jin Duodo lived. This time, he simply sat in the police station for a whole morning. Now, Xiao Yao could not waste time anymore, so he did not go to school. He had to use the limited time to upgrade. See you again if we are destined to meet again. Xiao Yao could only put it aside for the time being. After all, there were more important things waiting for him to do, and then turned to the taxi driver and said, "Master, go to Xiao Market." Okay, the taxi driver turned off the indicator light of the empty car, then turned around at the intersection, stepped on the accelerator, and drove to the Xiao Market in the south. The blue taxi in the driver's hand was like a fish in water, and it was at ease in the endless stream of cars. Not long after Xiao Yao got on the taxi, a red BMW drove over from the north, turned left at the side of the police station, drove into the police station, parked the car, opened the door, and Yuzin got out of the car. "Master, just park at the north gate." In a few minutes, the taxi was driven to Xiao Market. "Hello, 7 yuan." The driver turned to Xiao Yao who was sitting in the back seat and said. The driver did not print the invoice for the machine, but just smiled at Xiao Yao in the back seat, waiting for him to pay the fare, because printing an invoice means paying taxes. If the customer does not take the initiative to ask for it, these experienced drivers will not take the initiative to give the invoice. This is also a truth that only experienced drivers understand. Xiao Yao handed the driver 10 yuan and said, "No need for change." Xiao Yao was generous now. The change of 3 yuan was not enough to waste time. Besides, Xiao Yao didn't care much about money at this time. Money is just something outside of one's body. It is valuable because people give it value. It is not valuable because money is just a piece of beautifully made paper. If you ask what the value of money is other than a tool for transaction, Xiao Yao really couldn't think of what the value of money itself is for a while. It seems to be useless. If he didn't need these beautiful pieces of paper to buy something, Xiao Yao might have directly handed the driver a 100 yuan bill. "Hey, thank you, take care." Although Xiao Yao just didn't want the change for 3 yuan, the driver's smile made Xiao Yao feel more real and comfortable, instead of the professional perfunctory, awkward but polite fake smile just now. Xiao Yao suddenly felt that it was worth it to spend 3 yuan to buy a smile that made him more comfortable, and the driver's happiness from the bottom of his heart. Thinking of this, Xiao Yao couldn't help but suddenly paused. If the mutation could not be ended in a short time, then the value of this money would depreciate rapidly. According to the principle of equal value, materials would be in short supply, but money would still be the same, because money is the only thing that is increasing. What I mean by more here is not the amount of money in an individual's hand, but the human race as a whole. After all, money is the only thing that cannot be consumed. 3 yuan can buy a pound of bananas now, but if the mutation cannot be ended in a short time, and the goods are hoarded, then 30 yuan may not be able to buy a pound of bananas. It is foreseeable that after a period of fermentation, prices will soar to the degree of uncontrollability. If the mutation is finally controlled, it will be fine, but if it cannot be controlled, and the entire region and country fall, then money will not be recognized by people, and no matter how much money you have, it will only be a piece of exquisite paper for burning fire and heating. No, you must spend all the money on hand while it is still valuable. As for asking mom to borrow money, Xiao Yao has thought about it, but it is impossible. According to past experience, mom will not give you a penny more than daily expenses, let alone ask mom to lend you all the money. Tell mom that the world is about to end and give you all the money quickly? Then mom will probably send you directly to a mental hospital. As for being a whistleblower, Xiao Yao is not sure whether this is regional or global. He died without knowing why. Now think about it, it seems that there is no information about this mutation at all. The only memory is a thick fog that lasted all day, screams from time to time, and ordinary people will lose their minds and bite people, and the strength is surprisingly large. This is the only useful information I have obtained. How do ordinary people lose their minds? Did they breathe the virus in the thick fog? But why didn't I feel any discomfort when I went out with Xiao Yao several times? Moreover, many students in the class went back and forth to the toilet, supermarket, and cafeteria. Why was Zhang the only one in my class who had a mutation? There were about 30 people in the whole class, but only Zhang had a mutation. Moreover, he was a sports student and exercised every day, so his physique should be very good. Anyone could be infected with a mutation, but Zhang would not be the only one infected. Why was this? If you can't figure it out, don't think about it for the time being. After all, upgrading is the most critical task now. Xiao Yao checked the money balance in the mobile space, 23,213, no, it's still too little. This amount of money is not enough to upgrade to level 10. You must get some more money. Chapter 47. Money is a good thing. Money, money, money. Money is not everything, but you cannot live without it. No matter whether money is still valuable after 2 days, the problem is that at this point in time, money is really a good thing. Xiao Yao is short of money now. I remember that last time, the feather pen that dropped from killing the big rooster in my hometown was sold for 1 million on the treasure hunting platform, but Xiao Yao was not sure about this. After all, the development of things had deviated from his memory. Xiao Yao didn't know if he would still drop things if he killed the big rooster in his hometown. Moreover, Xiao Yao asked his mother not to go to work these days and stay at home. If his mother didn't go to work, Xiao Yao didn't know what reason he had to kill the big rooster. The matter of killing the big rooster could only be discussed later. Think of ways to make money from other places. Thinking of this, Xiao Yao suddenly remembered whether he could overdraw some money in Zifubeo. Thinking of this, Xiao Yao took out his mobile phone and found Zifubeo's app from the app file box. There was an online loan in it. Xiao Yao tremblingly clicked on the link of the online loan, borrowing and repaying at any time, with a total limit of 10,000 yuan. As expected, there was a limit. Xiao Yao clicked on the link to borrow money. After operating for a while, the balance of his Zifubeo increased by 10,000 yuan. Adding the original 23,213 yuan in Xiao Yao's mobile phone system, the total was 33,213 yuan. I remember that last time, because I wanted more, each chicken was purchased at 18 yuan. Killing each chicken can explode 5 yuan. How many chickens can be bought in total? Each chicken gives 2 experience points. How much experience can be obtained with the money in hand? The current level is level 1, and the upgrade requires 10 experience points. For each level, the experience point requirement doubles. In the end, Xiao Yao can upgrade to how many levels and how much experience. This is a math problem from an unknown grade, and at this time, Xiao Yao is already a bit overwhelmed. He can't calm down to calculate it all. He can only start as soon as possible, taking one step at a time. He will know after killing the chicken. When he came to the chicken slaughtering shop at the westernmost end of Xiao Market again, he looked at Sister Pan sitting at the door soliciting customers from a distance. Xiao Yao sighed. Sister Pan's appearance has not changed, but Sister Pan now doesn't recognize him. Boss, I want to buy some chickens. I want a large quantity. How much is the lowest price per chicken? Xiao Yao came to Sister Pan's chicken shop and asked directly. Young man, what kind of chicken do you want? Broiler? Stupid chicken? Pheasant? The woman asked enthusiastically when she saw that there was business. What are the prices? Although Xiao Yao already knew the price, this was the first time he met Sister Pan, so he had to ask the price. Broiler chickens are 20 yuan each, stupid chickens are 250 yuan each, and pheasants are 1,000 yuan each. Young man, which one do you want? I just want broiler chickens. I want a few thousand. What's the lowest price for one chicken? Xiao Yao thought for a while. He could get 1,660 chickens at 20 yuan each. But last time he bought 90 chickens, he could get the lowest price of 18 yuan. This time he wants a few thousand chickens, so he should be able to get a lower price. Hey, I didn't realize that you are a big customer. If you want a few thousand chickens, I can give you the lowest price of 18 yuan each. Jin Lian responded with a smile. 18 yuan is a bit high. The price I asked over there is 17 yuan. If 18 yuan is still a bit expensive here, can't it be cheaper? Xiao Yao came directly to Sister Pan's chicken shop. If it wasn't for buying more chickens to upgrade, Xiao Yao would not bargain. My price is already very reasonable. I didn't ask you to panic. You can see that my store is too far away, so the price is basically the lowest price in the market. Since they can sell it for 17 yuan, I can also give you 17 yuan, and I will deliver it to your door for free. Jin Lian explained with a smile on her face. 16 yuan per chicken, how about that? I don't need you to deliver the chickens to my door, just take me to your chicken farm and I can hire someone to move them myself. This. Sure, after this batch, I'll need a few more batches. You just need to raise them as soon as possible. I'll still want tens of thousands of chickens, and I don't have any requirements for the weight of the chickens, as long as they are healthy. Well, you seem to be quite honest, young man. You don't have any requirements for the weight. I'll take this business. I'll make a small profit but quick turnover. You must promise your sister that you will come to buy more in the future. Of course. Then how many can you have? Excuse me, how many chickens do you raise? I'm just doing a small business, it can't be called large-scale farming. I raise less than 5,000 chickens. I also have a younger brother, and my younger brother raises about 12,000 chickens. What do you think? Are they enough for you? So many. Xiao Yao was happy that there were so many chickens, but he was unhappy because he had no money. Even if he had a lot of chickens, he couldn't afford them now. Young man, you want a few thousand chickens, and then tens of thousands. Why are you scared when we have tens of thousands? Jin Lian laughed. No, but I can only buy 2,000 chickens for now. Buy these first. Take me to your chicken farm first. Xiao Yao estimated all the assets on hand. He didn't rent a house now, and he didn't plan to rent one. Sister Zhang's yard in Daoxiang village was too small to accommodate more than 2,000 chickens. Let's go to the chicken farm later. Okay, wait a minute, I'll lock the shop. Jin Lian went back to clean up the shop and pull down the shutter door. Come on, follow me. Jin Lian locked the rolling door and asked curiously, I haven't asked for the name of this big boss yet. Xiao Yao? Xiao Yao replied, what about you, sister? My name is Jin Lian. Oh, what's your surname? My surname is Jin, and my name is Jin Lian. Xiao Yao had a blank expression on her face, but felt a little embarrassed inside. It turned out that this sister's surname was Jin, and she had always thought her surname was Pan. Fortunately, she didn't call her sister Pan just now. Brother Xiao Yao, my electric bike is parked at the electric bike parking spot outside the market. Go there first. I'll take you to the chicken farm later. Jin Lian pointed outside the market. It's alright. Xiao Yao didn't care, but he didn't expect that the big boss who raised so many chickens would only ride an electric bike and not drive a car or something. Xiao Yao and Jin Lian walked side by side to the outside of the market. Hey, Boss Jin closed so early today. Passing by the chicken slaughter shop next door, the boss at the door greeted Jin Lian. Hey, isn't this my brother? Go home and cook a good meal to entertain him. Jin Lian responded with a smile. Jin Lian didn't want her colleagues to worry about such a big customer who bought so many chickens at once. If they used the price advantage to snatch him away, wouldn't it be a big customer that she would lose? Xiao Yao didn't explain, but just followed her like a good boy. Just after leaving the north gate of the market, a scolding sound came from not far to the right. Hurry up and leave. If you don't leave, I will throw all these junk away. Xiao Yao looked in the direction of the voice, and saw several elderly uncles surrounding a white-haired old lady. The one who spoke was one of the uncles, and the target of the scolding was the old lady in the middle. People who heard the voice gathered around in twos and threes, and Xiao Yao wanted to go over to see what happened because he was curious. Sister Jin Lian, let's go over and take a look. Then Xiao Yao also gathered around. After all, the old lady who was trying to scam people left a deep impression on Xiao Yao. It was okay for Xiao Yao to suffer a loss once. Xiao Yao would not rush over to help blindly like he did before. At least, he should understand the whole story first and then decide whether to help or not. Chapter 48 The old lady setting up a stall. Hurry up, you are not allowed to set up stalls here. The speaker was a middle-aged man with red sleeves on his arms. You are not allowed to set up stalls on the roadside outside the market. I've told you so many times. You came here just after we left. How can you still be so shameless at your age? The middle-aged man said as he was about to take the things that the old lady had left on the ground. Can you please ask me to sell here? Please, I came from the mountains and walked for 2 hours. I haven't sold a dime yet. I beg you, big brother, Please let me sell here for a while. I will leave immediately. I won't bother others." Seeing that the middle-aged man was trying to snatch her things, the old lady hurriedly covered the pile of unknown things on the rags on the ground, then turned to the crowd and begged in a crying voice, "Who wants red ginseng? I just dug it from the mountains yesterday. It's still fresh. Please buy some. Please. Big sister, please buy some red ginseng. It can nourish your body when you make soup with it." "No, no, who has nothing to do but buy this to drink soup?" A bystander hurriedly walked away. It was okay to watch the fun, but she didn't want to spend this money on buying something useless. "Little girl, buy some." A female middle school student hurriedly walked away, fearing that the old lady's dirty hands covered with mud would touch her school uniform. Several people watched the old lady selling things to them and hurried away. This is how China is. Everyone wants to watch the excitement, but no one will join in. Look, no one is buying your broken tree roots. Hurry up and pack them up and leave. Don't think that we won't mess with you just because you are an old man. If you don't know what's good for you, don't blame us for being rude. The middle-aged man saw that no one was buying and took a step forward. The two companions beside him also took a step forward aggressively to see if the old lady had anything to say. If she didn't leave, they would really throw away these broken tree roots. The reason why they didn't throw them away was because there were too many people watching. Now it seems that the onlookers don't want to get involved, so they are more relaxed. After all, the old lady is old, so they will scare her away if they can. Several people walked away, only Xiao Yao was still standing there. The old lady saw that there was still someone in front of her, and looked at Xiao Yao with expectant eyes and pleaded, "Young man, buy some red ginseng." Xiao Yao looked at a rag on the ground, where there were several bundles of thin tree roots tied with ropes. They were reddish-brown in color. To be honest, Xiao Yao thought, these were just tree roots. What use could they be? However, Xiao Yao's biggest shortcoming was that he was too soft-hearted. He couldn't stand weakness or pity, so he asked for some reason. "Grandma, how much is a bundle?" 5 yuan a bundle. "If you want, I'll give you 4 yuan. 20 yuan for 5 bundles." Generally, when someone asks the price, it basically means they are willing to buy, so the old lady smiled, and the wrinkles on her face, which was wrinkled like tree roots, became more obvious. "Do you want some, young man?" Ding ding ding. At this time, the cell phone rang a few times, but Xiao Yao did not notice the faint sound at this time. "Okay, wrap it up for me." Xiao Yao took out 100 yuan from his trouser pocket. "Grandma, here's 100 yuan for you." "Young man, do you have any change?" "I can't make a change for such a large amount of money." Xiao Yao was speechless for a while. He couldn't make a change for 100 yuan, but the problem was that he couldn't withdraw money from his mobile phone in public. "No need to change, just wrap it up for me." Xiao Yao took out a tree root and took a look. It didn't seem to be anything special. "Okay, that's it. You should go back soon. It's getting late. It will take you another 2 hours to walk home. It will be dark in 2 hours." That's it. The tree root had been wrapped in rags. Xiao Yao picked up the tree root directly. "Grandma, I have something else to do, so I'll leave first." After that, he stuffed the 100 yuan directly into the old lady's arms, turned to Jinlian and said, "Sister Jinlian, let's go. We've wasted a lot of time." "How can that be, young man? I can't ask you for more money. That would be the same as begging. Wait for me." After the old lady finished speaking, she stood up, bent her waist and walked quickly to the supermarket next to her. "Let's go," Xiao Yao said to Jinlian as he looked at the old lady who walked into the supermarket. He didn't want the change the old lady gave him. It was not easy for the old lady to walk for 2 hours, and 4 hours round trip. It was not easy for her, so let's just treat it as a relief for her. Sister Jinlian took the electric bike, and Xiao Yao stepped onto the back seat of the electric bike. Sister Jinlian started the electric bike and joked. "I didn't expect that you, Xiao Yao, are so kind." "No, it's just that seeing the old lady reminded me of my late grandmother, and I was moved by the scene." Xiao Yao didn't want to talk more at this time. "By the way, Sister Jinlian, where's your chicken farm? Is it nearby?" "Not far, it's in Daoxiang village. I have 5 large tiled houses there, and later I moved into the building. It's a pity to leave the old house empty, so I asked my mother to help raise a house of chickens there." "Oh, Daoxiang village, it's quite close to my school, let's go." It looks like we have to go to Daoxiang village again. Young man, I need your change. Where is he? The old lady, who had already shattered all the change, walked out of the supermarket. There was no sign of the young man. The young man left a long time ago. The onlookers said. Yes, young people nowadays are really kind-hearted. Just take it. Go away, go away. There are so many people around. People might think something has happened. The middle-aged man in red cuffs saw that someone bought the old lady's things, so he gave up. After all, if he didn't sell anything, he wouldn't have to set up a stall, and he had no reason to chase the old lady away. What's more, he really didn't want to throw the old lady's things away in public. After all, everyone has a mobile phone now. If it was posted online and caused negative impact, the superior would definitely say that he was a temporary worker and fired him. After thinking about it, the middle-aged man looked at Xiao Yao's back and thought that it was all thanks to this young man. The old lady looked at Xiao Yao, who had already disappeared in the busy traffic. Her wrinkled face and twitching mouth, she touched the corner of her eye, packed up her bag, and walked to the market. She promised to buy her granddaughter candied haws. She could forget anything, but she couldn't forget this. This was a promise to her granddaughter, otherwise she wouldn't have been so anxious to sell the red ginseng. If she couldn't sell it, she couldn't buy candied haws. Her biggest wish was to see her granddaughter eating the candied haws she bought when she got home, with a happy smile. Xiao Yao, who was sitting in the back of the electric car, took out his mobile phone and checked the time. Random task, help the trapped old lady who was expelled by the market administrator. Gain 20 EXP experience points and a pair of reconnaissance glasses, completed. Please collect the reward in time. What came into view was a page with a line of prompt text and 2 boxes below. Inside the boxes was an icon of 20 EXP experience and a pair of glasses. Xiao Yao stared at the screen of his mobile phone. When will the task be issued? When will the task be completed? Although it was a random task, Xiao Yao was extremely happy at the moment. After all, this was the first task that appeared since his rebirth. The lack of tasks was a problem that Xiao Yao had always been extremely entangled with, but this time, how was the task triggered? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49 Reappearance of the Detection Function. Brother Xiao Yao, your figure is too plump. If it weren't for the quality of my electric bike, I'm really afraid that it would be scrapped on the road. Sister Jinlian parked the electric bike and complained to Xiao Yao with her cherry lips pouted. Xiao Yao felt embarrassed. He couldn't do anything about his plump body. After rebirth, he had such a wide and fat body. However, with this body, he could probably survive without eating for a week. It was a bit good to think about it. Sister Jinlian, is this the house? Xiao Yao pointed to the house next to him. There was a dilapidated iron gate at the door. There was a small bungalow next to the yard. He couldn't see what was inside, but he could vaguely hear the sound of chickens coming from the house when he stood at the door. It was probably this house. It's this one. Come in with me. Jinlian opened the door and walked in. The chicken farm may have some smell. Brother Xiao Yao, please be patient. Huh? Xiao Yao followed Sister Jinlian into the yard and smelled a strong smell of chicken manure. He was a little overwhelmed. It's okay, it's okay. Sister Jinlian moved to the small bungalow next to it. Creaky, a gray curtain was lifted, and an old man walked out. Xiao Lian, who is this young man? After she finished speaking, her eyes did not leave Xiao Yao's face. She looked him up and down and nodded from time to time. Well, not bad. Mom, this is my customer. He wants to buy a lot of chickens. I'm bringing him to see the chickens. Mom, please come in. I'll show him around. Hello, Auntie. Although Xiao Yao came to buy chickens, he still bent down slightly and greeted the old lady with a smile. The minimum courtesy of respecting the elderly and loving the young should still be there. This has nothing to do with business. Good, the young man is polite, very polite. The old lady looked at the two people going away and muttered in a low voice, this fat young man is not bad. Xiao Lian is also at the age to get married. Xiao Yao and Jinlian walked forward and entered the north room. The moment he opened the door, Xiao Yao realized that the faint smell of chicken manure when he entered the door was not a problem at all. This is the top. Oh, my mother forgot to turn on the fan again. The most feared thing in a chicken farm is that the ventilation cannot keep up. Jinlian came in and walked to the wall next to her and pressed the switch. There were 4 ventilation fans on the north wall. They started slowly at the moment of power on, and then rotated rapidly. Maybe it was a psychological effect. After staying for a while, Xiao Yao didn't think it was so smelly. Maybe he was used to this smell. There are 2,500 chickens in this room, and 2,500 in the room next to it. I'll take you to see them all. You can order the chicken from whichever side you think is good. I don't have so many requirements. Any is fine. Xiao Yao looked around and turned to Jinlian and said, Sister Jinlian, I want to borrow something from you. What do you want to borrow, Brother Xiao Yao? I want to see if I have one. Sister Jinlian, I don't know if you have a knife here. Can you lend me one? Brother Xiao Yao, what do you want a knife for? Jinlian's smiling face suddenly collapsed. What does this little fat man want a knife for? Does he want to rob me? Rob money? Rob sex? Although she sells chickens in the market, she is still a real virgin. Oh, Sister Jinlian, don't be afraid. I just want to kill a chicken to see the quality of the meat. To be honest, I can't tell anything just by looking at it. The quality of broiler chickens is average. It's 16 yuan a chicken. What quality do you want? Hearing Xiao Yao's explanation, Jinlian was relieved. I know, Sister Jinlian, are you afraid of what I will do with the knife? Don't worry, if you are afraid, just lock the door and throw the knife in through the window. Xiao Yao suddenly thought that maybe he didn't explain it clearly. How could you go to someone's house to ask for a knife? Sister Jinlian might think he was a robber. Really just to kill a chicken to see the meat quality. It's more real than real gold. So, Sister Jinlian, go out, lock the door, throw the knife in through the window. You are outside. What are you afraid of me for? Brother Xiao Yao, Sister will trust you this time. You can't let Sister down. Jinlian said and went out, worriedly locking the door from the outside. Hey. I didn't expect Sister Jinlian to be so careful. Take advantage of this time to collect the reward just now. He took out his mobile phone and checked the storage space. There happened to be a free space. Receive the reward. A burst of light flashed, and a warm current came from inside to outside, and a sense of comfort came from the bottom of his heart. This was the familiar feeling of upgrading. Xiao Yao couldn't wait to check his personal information. Xiao Yao, level 2 combat power, 13 health, 110/110 hunger, 80 out of 100 strength, 2 agility, 2 intelligence, 9 experience, 10/20 inches as expected. He upgraded. After taking a quick look, Xiao Yao couldn't wait to open the storage box of his mobile phone, only to see a pair of glasses on the last empty space. Xiao Yao directly clicked on the extraction, and a pair of ordinary black framed glasses appeared in his hand. Xiao Yao played with the reconnaissance glasses in his hand, and took off his myopic glasses. He remembered that the last reconnaissance glasses were contact lenses, but this time they were physical. Moreover, these glasses looked exactly the same as his myopic glasses. Are they really reconnaissance glasses? Xiao Yao put on the reconnaissance glasses. Ding. A wearable device that can be connected is found and is connecting. Ding. Connected. The wearable device function is closed by default and can be turned on in the skill bar. What appeared in Xiao Yao's eyes was the same information displayed on the mobile phone screen. The difference was that the mobile phone had a desktop background, while the reconnaissance glasses were based on reality, like a first-person game interface. In the upper left corner was a zone avatar, and next to it was a line similar to an electrocardiogram that was constantly beating. Below was a red rectangular line, and the rightmost line displayed life 110/110. Below the red rectangular line was a yellow rectangular line of the same width and length, and the rightmost line displayed hunger. 80 out of 100 inches, followed by a row of icons below, an ID card, a wooden box, and the Big Dipper. Xiao Yao tried to open the interface seen in the reconnaissance glasses without taking out his phone, and it turned out that he could control it with brain waves. Switch skill bar. The interface in front of him switched to the skill bar, and a reconnaissance skill was added to the skill bar. Detection. Can detect information about items and creatures within 3 meters that are not higher than your level 5. Cost. 60 gold minute to turn on. Off. Turn on. Xiao Yao silently chanted to turn on. After waiting for so long, he finally waited for you. A burst of blue light flashed quickly from the distance in front of his eyes, and then a light blue hollow circle appeared in Xiao Yao's left eye. The circle moved with a rotation of Xiao Yao's eyeballs. What is this? Exclamation mark. Pupil tracking technology. The system's products must be high quality. It is indeed a technology that exceeds the reality by several stages. The detection skill is finally available and the initial range is 3 meters, but Xiao Yao also noticed that this skill has no proficiency, that is, there is no way to upgrade it, but 3 meters is not bad. Xiao Yao can't wait to look at the chicken coop next to him. There were rows of chickens in the chicken coop within 3 meters. They all had a red box on their heads. Xiao Yao knew that it must be the health bar, representing the health value. Xiao Yao could not see the health bars of the chickens farther away. Although he could see the health bars on the heads of the chickens nearby, no attributes were displayed. Xiao Yao focused his eyes on one of the chickens. He saw a blue circle in his left eye locked on the chicken that Xiao Yao focused on. The blue circle rotated and a few lines of words appeared on the right side of the blue circle. Ordinary broiler chicken level 1 health 2020 chapter 50, killing chickens. Pa, pa, pa. There was a sound of slapping on the window. Brother Xiao Yao. Xiao Yao looked back and saw that Sister Jinlian was really careful. She was shaking the kitchen knife in her hand outside the window and was actually going to pass the knife to me through the window. Xiao Yao shook his head and walked over. His eyes were focused on Sister Jinlian. Ding, a blue circle scanned the top of Jinlian's head and displayed information. Jinlian, level 1 life 100/100 combat power. 12 inches. The combat power of Sister Jinlian at level 1 was actually higher than his own combat power at level 1. It's true that you can't judge a person by his appearance. Here, Brother Xiao Yao, the kitchen knife you want. Jinlian handed Xiao Yao the kitchen knife, then stepped back and moved a little further away from the window. This window had iron railings, so she was not afraid that Xiao Yao would run out of the window. Sister Jinlian, you are really cautious. I just killed a chicken. There's no need to be so nervous. Humph, who knows what crooked ideas you have, it's better to be careful. Jinlian pouted. Okay, then Sister Jinlian, I'm going to kill a chicken. Do you want to watch outside the window or go to Auntie's place first? I'll call you when I'm done. You forgot, I kill chickens every day in the market. What's so interesting about killing chickens? I'll go to the bungalow to clean up. When you're done, open the window and call me. Jinlian said, and closed the window. Okay, then Sister Jinlian, you go ahead. Xiao Yao watched Jinlian go away and looked at the kitchen knife in his hand. Cleaning knife, attack 2-3. Combat power plus 3 inches. It actually has an attack attribute, so doesn't that mean my own attributes also have an attack attribute? Xiao Yao called out his personal information. Xiao Yao, level 2 combat power. 13, 16, life. 111/111 hunger. 80/100 attack. 4-5 strength. 2, 1 point of strength increases life by 1 and attack by 1, agility. 2 intelligence. 9 experience. 10/20 inches as expected, the attack attribute appeared. A chicken has 20 HP. According to my attack, it would take 4 hits to kill a chicken. Looking at the thousands of chickens in the room, Xiao Yao felt a headache. If I kill them one by one, I will be exhausted. I can't care about so much. Xiao Yao grabbed the chicken from the cage. Because it is a breeding farm, there are 4 chickens in each cage. The space is relatively small. Xiao Yao grabbed the chicken and cut off its head with a knife, and then threw the chicken into the cage. At the moment of cutting off the chicken's head, Xiao Yao saw a red critical hit on the chicken, -15, and then a small icon appeared on the headless chicken, bleeding. 1 point of blood loss per second, lasting until death. It seems that the attack attribute itself is not a fixed standard for reference. If, like now, the chicken's head is chopped off and a fatal blow is caused, the damage caused will far exceed Xiao Yao's own attack attribute. This is reality after all. It is not like in the game, where there is only one trigger point for attack and the amount of blood loss is also fixed. Reality is different. Reality has weaknesses, such as the head and the heart, and bleeding. Reality is much more complicated than games. Combat power is just a bonus of attributes. If operated properly, a fatal blow or sure kill is possible. This is an opportunity and a risk. The opportunity is that you can kill enemies with higher combat power than yourself, and the risk is that you may also be killed by enemies with lower combat power than yourself. Xiao Yao frowned and looked at the chicken in front of him. He should be low-key in life and work. Before they grow up, even with such a powerful assistance as the mobile phone system, they still cannot be reckless. To use a popular phrase nowadays, develop in a despicable way, don't be reckless, develop first, and upgrade first. The other chickens in the chicken coop had already been scared and were chirping non-stop. Xiao Yao raised his knife and chopped them one by one and threw them into the cage. I'm sorry, broiler chickens, you have to die sooner or later. It's better to be the stepping stones on my road to growth. It's much more useful than simply being on other people's tables. This is a world where the strong prey on the weak. Don't be chickens in your next life. Ding. Level up, current level 3. After killing for a while, it reached level 3. Xiao Yao noticed that there was an experience +2 prompt from time to time in the lower right corner of the field of vision. Each chicken gave 2 experience. The early upgrade was still quite fast. He killed nearly 20 chickens with a knife. Sister Jinlian thought she would only kill 1, but she didn't expect that she would kill all the chickens here. After thinking for a while, Xiao Yao directly took out 20,000 yuan from the mobile phone space, put it by the window, and then turned around to continue killing chickens. Ding. Level up, current level 4. Ding. Level up, current level 5. Xiao Yao, are you crazy? A woman's scream came from behind Xiao Yao. Xiao Yao turned around and saw that it was indeed Jinlian who came over. She was standing outside the window and looking at him in surprise. Xiao Yao walked to the window, and Jinlian's eyes changed when she looked at him. She was afraid. Even if she didn't look at Jinlian, she would step back half a step. Sister Jinlian. Are you crazy? Aren't you going to kill one? I waited for a long time but you didn't call me, so I came to take a look. Jinlian looked at the dead chickens in the chicken coop behind Xiao Yao. How many chickens did you kill? Sister Jinlian, don't worry, I'm going to kill all the chickens I want to buy and then pack them up to take away. It's easier this way. Xiao Yao picked up the 20,000 yuan that he had taken out by the window a long time ago. Sister Jinlian, here's 20,000. I'll give it to you first, and I'll transfer another 10,000 to you from Zhifubao. We'll settle the bill after I kill the chickens. You don't have to return the extra money, and I'll make up for the shortfall. What do you think? Jinlian took the 2 stacks of money handed over by Xiao Yao. Zhifubao, transfer it to me later. Since you want to kill the chicken here, it's up to you. But you have to find someone to clean it up for me, otherwise it will be a lot of work for me to clean it up. That's a must. I promise to clean it up and it will be as good as new. I really don't understand what you are thinking, but you have paid, you are the boss, you can do whatever you want. Jinlian looked at Xiao Yao, because he had just killed the chicken, and his body and face were inevitably stained with blood. Xiao Yao's current condition looked a little scary to Jinlian. Could it be that Xiao Yao was bloodthirsty? Since he gave the money, let him do the killing. Jinlian was really afraid that if she didn't let him do the killing, the chicken would come out and do something. Worried, Jinlian muttered and walked away, considering whether to call the police or something. After all, Xiao Yao looked like a bloodthirsty butcher at this time. Xiao Yao watched Jinlian leave, and looked at the bloodstains on his clothes. It looked really scary. Reality is reality after all. It is different when it becomes a game. For example, the chicken blood splashed on his body cannot be refreshed, and he cannot change clothes now. He will change clothes after killing all the chickens. Xiao Yao turned around and continued to kill chickens. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.